Usher was a good halftime show, and he might have been. But Prince will never be topped. It rained during Purple Rain.
Yeah, that was tight. That was time we got. I personally, my favorite one was the Michael Jackson one.
Oh, where he
was teleporting. Yeah, he was teleporting. Did you see that? It was 1992. Was that the Redskins? I think that might have been the Redskins.
It could have been. Yeah, 92 seems like
so
the
they would have like an explosion go on top of one of the scoreboards, and a dude who looked like Michael Jackson would do like his little like kick step thing. And then they'd be like another one, then there would be an explosion across the stadium, and then another Michael Jackson would pop up and be like, ooh tee hee hee. And then like they do it a couple times, and then in the middle of the 50-yard line, they shoot him out of the ground and shit, and fucking comes out. And
I'll be honest, I've been out since Nipplegate.
But that was way after. But that was also tight, man.
So where were you guys at Nipplegate?
On top.
What's that?
Nipplegate. Where were you guys? Do you guys remember?
Man, I can't remember where I was at. I just remember I was like, God damn, that's
that was when.
When
Janet Jackson.
Yeah, when
Timberlake.
her titty popped out. All right, yeah.
I remember.
And Justin Timberlake was like, yay.
He was shocked by what he did. Like, shit.
I was at my friend's apartment, right? And we were smoking a blunt, so you're like half hanging out like the sliding glass door in an apartment, and then it happens. Everybody's like, Did you see Janet's nipple? Did we just see Janet's nipple? Everybody was in shock. It was like you had to confirm it. Yeah, that was Janet's nipple, and Timberlake did that shit. So that's like I remember that. I remember where I was when 9/11 happened, and when Janet's nipple got shown on TV. Two seminal moments, dude. Man,
never forget.
Yeah, dude. Like this time, I guess they made a big deal because Usher was like grinding his penis against Alicia Keys' butt cheeks, and everybody was really mad about that. I guess because she's married to like Swiss Beats, the guy that used to make like a bunch of beats.
He used to make beats, right?
Beats
with
for like
in them?
well, no, he would like the Rough Riders. A lot of their stuff he did.
Yeah,
I remember.
Yeah, Swiss Beats, dude.
Yeah.
We were at it was when the All-Star game, the NBA All-Star game was in DC. I was there with we went to DC with a couple of my roommates from college who were from smaller towns, and we were there, and there was like just a lot of celebrities everywhere. We went into this throwback jersey and shoe store, and there was like a bunch of little dudes in there buying shit, and one dude was up front. He was dressed from head to toe, matching Coogee hat, sweater, pants, shoes, and his girlfriend was in the same. And then this little dude walks by us. He looks like DMX, but like was only like 5'4", 5'5", something like that. It was the entire Rough Riders crew. It was the Locks. It was
them Coogies.
Yeah, it was all them in the same store. We also saw Shannon Sharp that weekend as well too. This was pre-Cat Williams fame.
I'll be honest, man. I've seen this Cat Williams interview, and maybe I have not watched all of it, and maybe it's me being like, "Oh, I figured that," and being skeptical of like celebrity people doing wild shit. That I'm not surprised. Like when the P. Diddy thing, I'm actually not surprised about because I've heard that for like years that he was like, like doing dudes.
Well, you know what? I'll say this about that. For $50 million,
oh, dude,
Bad Boy Presents Paul Blart 3 work release starring Chris Kenworthy, released directly to DVD.
Oh, you ain't even got to make me famous. I'll tell you right now, if anybody wants to give me that amount of money, you can do whatever you want to my butt for a night, a whole night. That's a lot of money. You know
Josh,
how much?
What's your price tag?
I would do 49 just to undercut him, just so I get the job.
48, dude.
God damn, it's the bidding war. The butthole bidding war.
We're down to $50 and regretting it.
Yeah, you won.
Yeah, the butthole bidding war for getting done dirty in the doo-doo by Diddy.
Fuck that. At about 25, I'd be like, I'm splitting this with you, and I'm taking one for the team. We still getting this money.
You're all going on vacation.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah,
I don't give a shit. $13 million, like for fucking getting butt fucked. Some people that's hard to think about. There's worse things. I'd still have my hands.
Have you ever been like
no, hold on,
just rough and
hold on.
No prep, no nothing. Just...
Oh, do you think I'm not gonna prep? I'm gonna be so fucked up. I'm gonna be like, yo, give me a cortisone shot, my turd cutter, and fucking a whole bunch of cocaine. We gonna go do what you want. I'll be reading magazines, playing video games. Motherfucker be sweating on my back.
I mean, I'll put a butt plug in and pop in some Jodeci and have a butt plug in.
Pre-gaming.
Yeah,
Loosen yourself up a little
like,
bit.
Yo, that, Sean, baby, just romance me a little bit.
Like, you can't slap me though.
There won't be. I'm not gonna tell anybody though, but there's gonna be some telltale signs because you're gonna see me waddling out of a purple Lamborghini.
Are you gonna get out like Britney Spears and them used to?
Yeah, like, is that my vagina?
Showing off your bussy.
Pro bussy.
Dude, you know what I was disappointed this week? Last week on the show, we talked about Drake and his dick and how it got exposed. And I'm disappointed in all you rappers for not stepping the game up and trying to upstage him. You know, Meek Mill, where you at? Why ain't you posting your hog online? What the fuck's going on? Pussies? I think Lita called it right last week.
Yeah, they're just intimidated. They're like,
They're
oh,
intimidated
fuck.
by Drake.
He's got me by like 3 inches, man. I am not showing my stuff.
Drake is he's like a reverse Tigger. You know, he's like his
Bouncing on it.
Like, dude, it's bouncy, 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 fun, 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 fun. Yeah,
It got leaked. You lying ass motherfucker. Like,
yeah, you know what? His answer,
he was posed as a motherfucker in that picture.
his answer was the best though. It was so unapologetic and poetic at the same time. He said, I wasn't hiding my meat from the world. I was hiding the world from my meat. And I will tell you right now, across the board, his metrics went up by 1 that immediately, because I was like, now I'm a Drake fan for sure. I almost said a Blake fan. I'm also a Blake, I don't know. Blake Lively, is that a dude? Isn't that
Yeah, that's a
Gwen
girl.
Stefani's?
That's a girl,
That
I
was a
think.
girl?
Blake Griffin.
Who's your favorite Blake? Josh?
Balake.
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 All right, Balake.
Key and Peele.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, dude, that scene.
Aaron. Yeah.
Yeah, Ron. No, I like the that shit they do when they do the college football players.
The
Oh, yeah.
draft.
Oh my god, dude.
Marquisius.
So did you watch the football game?
Nope.
Yeah, I didn't think so. That's the one game I watched, one game a year. I watch one full football game a year now, and that was it was a good game. We had a good. I go to a football party every year at my boy Phil's house, and it's awesome because he's got arcade games. And there's always hella food and shit, and we be getting down and having a good time. So I like it from the communal aspect of it, but I'm just not into watching large men in spandex chase each other's down too much.
Except once a year.
Except for once a year. It's like, once a year you have to,
A little treat.
yeah, like that, that one Saturday night I take you out every year. You know what I mean?
That was a Friday night. It was tonight. We went to Catamount, and Chris goes, "Hey, so and so, this is Josh." No reference. I'm like, "Okay, hello." He said, "This table, this is Sherry." I'm like, "Okay, hello." He goes, "That's Sean. That's Kevin." I was like, "I don't fucking care. How many of these people
I
I'm never
have
gonna meet
manners.
again?"
I have
Chris was
manners,
like parading me.
Josh.
He's like, "This is Josh."
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, man. I'm,
What
seen him?
stories have you told? They don't know. They don't care.
I'm
What you-
surprised you didn't have
what
like
you don't know, this
balloons
is
with
like
his name.
this is a Tales from the Crypt episode where actually this is the long con. I'm here for your kidneys.
They're
You guys
good
got
kidneys,
you got
dude.
the table prepped in the back, right?
Straight
Yeah,
edge, bro.
yeah,
These kidneys got miles on them.
So you've been straight edge your entire career?
No.
All right.
I got drunk in a field and almost died like every 14-year-old I knew.
Goddamn.
County,
Wow.
But no, I mean, family has a history of
Okay.
drug abuse, and everything I ever did drunk, I'd do sober. And I was 16 hanging out with a bunch of 19-year-olds, like friends in town. Like, as soon as I could drive, I was the fuck out of Hampshire County, West Virginia. So I was like totally good with being the sober friend that would still do the thing. Like, I had a friend, Andy, who would get drunk and make me drive his Jeep. That's how I learned a 5-speed. And the rule was we couldn't back up at all. So he'd park straight forward into a spot and then make me drive over the median and shit. So it was kind of good to be sober for those moments.
I feel you. Well, that's good, man. I've been, I've not had a drink in 12 days. And that's a lot for me. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and I'm not militant about it. I mean, like, harm reduction is a thing I believe in. Legalization of everything is a thing I believe in. Like,
Yeah.
it's for everybody. It just ain't for me.
Yeah, I was straight edge through high school, and then I was like, oh, let's do acid. Like, my rule was I wasn't going to do anything until I, like, at least had a diploma.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I'm not going to fuck with my shit. But then afterwards, it was full bore.
You know what we forgot to do today?
Introduce ourselves.
We sure as shit did. We left our manners where our pants are. Around my nipples, George's on the floor, and Josh's is wedged up in that thing.
A little tight.
That's why I can't yell when we start the show off. I got to start off
Lita-
sultry. If I yell,
Yeah.
I have cool pants and they're not coming off, so fuck you.
Those are really cool.
I love my pants.
She said, "No, babe, the pants stay on."
Jesus.
they staying on.
The lights are off and the pants are on, all right?
Look, I'm putting sweatpants over these.
Yeah.
So Chris is here. I'm George. I'm a Leo. I like doing cock push-ups and uppercuts. Read your Bible.
I'm Lita. I like to do art stuff and take pictures, and that's about it.
Ooh,
And talk about horror movies
yeah.
and horror stuff and all the horror things. So yeah, I've got 3 awesome movies to talk about later on. Of course, they're surrounded. They're kind of like about love, but not really, because it's still kind of Valentine's Day. You guys are like feeling hurt. You didn't get like a card or flowers or chocolate, and you're like me, and you went out and bought like clearance chocolate. Well, I've got movies for you to watch.
Speaking of chocolate, looking at some sensual white chocolate across from me, my man Josh Huff. Josh, tell us a little about yourself.
This will probably be the episode that gets me canceled. Otherwise, I pretty much am a jack of all trades, master of none. No formal college education, but went from selling cell phones to running venues to now running all the events at a nonprofit in the area. So don't know how I got here. Don't know where I'm going.
And you know what it is? It's your machismo and your mustache. I think that your mustache is definitely accredited for 5% of your success. But so tell us about the nonprofit you work for.
Yeah, so I run all the events for community engagement at the Museum of the Shenandoah Valley. That is in Winchester, Virginia. The prettier version of Front Royal, as many would say. Maybe a little less math. More gentrified for sure. But the museum actually has a really weird history. It was the ancestral home of James Wood. So he was given 1,200 acres by Lord Fairfax. That didn't displace anybody. And then the home was built on it. It was used by the family until the heir that started the museum, which was James Wood Glass Jr., who was an openly but closeted gay man in the 50s through 80s when it was slightly illegal to do so.
Hey.
He had no heir, so he decided to leave all his money to himself and make a museum in his honor.
That's awesome.
Fuck them kids.
That's pimping. That is pimping as a motherfucker.
It's wild because the museum will never close. He died with so much wealth that they assigned a non-profit financial arm to run his will, and they are still to this day appointed and ran and paid.
Wow.
And after they had all that land and slavery became not so cool, his family moved to Oklahoma and struck it rich on oil.
He is balling, yo. His genetic line.
Yeah. So the museum is very philanthropic. It's very arts. It's very, accessibility to the community. But it's founded on stolen land and oil, like most white people things are.
Oh, yeah. Hey, so Nobel Dynamite, and for every really good philanthropic thing that ends up happening, it's all because somebody ends up being like, oh shit, I did a bunch of fucked up shit. I got to make this right. I got to get my karma right. Like all those I guess what they would call the robber barons, all of that stuff. Like this is why there's the Rockefeller, everything in New York. But I guess you have to look at it. What happened in the end? Is it better? Is humanity better because of they did do some oppressive shit and be like, hey, you want no pay to go work in these fields? But at a certain point, America is either that or we're the war machine. So it's at least with industry, more people get rich than die.
Yeah. Well, and we're very fortunate to have it because there's so many museums in this area, or even in the United States in general, that aren't well endowed. You can hit the bell.
Hey. It's a big black museum.
And it really does let the museum do a lot of cool stuff and employ a lot of cool people. And everyone I work with is learned in art and history, and I'm not. I am what I like to call the minority hire. I don't think I'm the only, but maybe times 3, the only person with a face tattoo there. But again, I've never been judged for that. I've excelled there. They've given a lot of opportunities, so it's legit. We host the Juneteenth celebration for NAACP.
Oh, I'm coming.
We hosted Pride for Winchester the first time at Old Town last year. Was hosted at the
Hey.
MSV.
That
wine fest, Legos, a whole bunch of stuff.
Legos and wine
and gays, gaygos.
They're winning.
Hell yeah!
Dude, and I think a lot of people, if they think of this area, whether it's Front Royal or Winchester, they don't really think of the area as being that. I think a lot of people, other than Apple Blossom for Winchester, they think about Front Royal in a different manner.
Yeah.
But I think it's any place where you get outside of DC area in this area is pretty much everybody thinks as soon as you get past maybe like Centerville, you're in the middle of like a cow field.
If you were to tell them that geographically we were the most northern point of Nova, which we are, they'll spit on you. We're not Nova to them.
Ooh, that's all you have to do to get them to spit on you?
I mean, if you're within like 60 to 100 miles of the Death Star, you're pretty much good. Like as long as you're close to DC, like there's going to be, I think a bunch of people that are rather open minded. Like I know, like didn't you used to do things for the Bright Box?
Yeah, I ran the Bright Box.
So the Bright Box, I know, like there will be like a lot of acts there that all of a sudden you'll see like Black Flag or something like that playing there, and that was always wow. But that's something that you wouldn't think if you think like I lived in Manassas for years, and that's like home of redneck hell.
Mm-hmm.
But when you would think of Winchester, I didn't think of it as having like Black Flag would ever perform in Winchester. So that's kind of like a lot of people think of Winchester as like dudes in pink shirts and khakis at Apple Blossom because that's their only reference point.
And it is too.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah,
To be
it
clear.
definitely is.
I watched two dudes in front of Piccadilly get into an argument about like where they bought their clothes at. Like, nah, this ain't TJ Maxx, this is Ross. And I was
I remember that. Oh my god.
It's so much sexual tension for so many homophobic people wearing pink. It's like the perfect storm. It's wild.
That's a wild
let's
night.
get drunk. And I also determined that the national, real white national anthem is Journey, Don't Stop Believing. Because I felt the floor in the Piccadilly start to flex as soon as that song came on. And then I looked at all my people. There were me and a couple other black people in there. And I looked, and we all just looked at each other like, oh, shit.
I don't know
this,
the words.
this is how it fucking starts.
Yeah.
Let's stand in the back just in case we got to run for the exits.
But I'll tell you what, man, the pink collar dudes in Winchester ain't shit on the brown flip flop dudes in Arlington. That is for fucking sure, man. Like,
Are we talking wooks?
we are talking? No, we're talking about honky ass crackers. I mean, we were talking about white people. Like, I think I'm white, Josh is white, Lita's white. We're a different type of white.
Oh, you
We're
talking
like-
suburban? Like I'm waiting. I'm itching to wear these white New Balances white.
Well,
Or like boat shoes white.
I'm talking about like what type of white am I talking? I'm talking about over the knee khakis white. You know,
Talking
well,
salt.
I guess the hoochie daddies are in now. Do you do that? Because I can't get away with it. I got chicken legs. I look funny as fuck if I try to do that. I gotta go cholo. I gotta go cholo length shorts.
I think my clothes are unintentionally tight at this point.
But you look good, man.
No, like high
That's
school, they were intentionally tight. Those were girl jeans. Now it's just
I'm waiting for summer so I can get some booty shorts on. What are y'all talking about? I'm gonna show off these cheeks.
Yeah, yeah, you goddamn right. Well, you know what? Speaking of girl jeans and tight jeans, your stepbrother Alistair. I hope he's listening. Yeah, so that's how it was wild. Like Josh, I met Josh through the Monument and being in. I guess he did did I meet you at the metal show first or before that?
that was the first show I booked there.
Yeah, the first show you did there was the Great Metal Show, and I didn't know, but our main sound engineer, Alistair, who does not have the same last name as him, like he's like, yeah, well, it was like they're talking, and he's like, yeah, this is my stepbrother. I was like, oh no, it was after that. It was I guess a month or so after that. I was just so like, sorry man, this Jay's hit a little bit, and yeah, it's wild, man. So you have a family of musicians, and you guys play in a band together now.
Yeah, I'd like to say I'm not the stepbrother, but I'm the brother that stepped up. Little t-shirt.
I'm not stepped on. I'm step up, bro.
Alistair and I are in 2 bands right now together.
Oh, rad. Okay, tell us about those bands, bro.
You don't want to hear about those.
We fucking want to hear about those goddamn bands.
What type of music do you are you like playing in either one of these bands? What type of music are you into?
For anyone that cares about subgenres, they're subgenres, but the easiest way to say it always is Warped Tour music.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like the second half of Warped Tour, like the first year I ever went to Warped Tour, it was Rancid.
Yeah.
And the last year I went to Warped Tour, it was like Katy Perry. You know what I mean? Like this shit
Yeah.
changed drastically. And that's not a joke. Katy Perry
Yeah.
has played Warped
Oh, yeah,
Tour,
yeah.
to be
Fuck
clear.
Katy Perry, though. We
Yeah.
got to fuck Katy Perry standpoint on this show
You
because
do?
yeah, because
Of course you do.
Well, yeah, but I don't know. You didn't. You obviously.
Oh
you
yeah, I
li-
forgot about this.
Oh,
You
yeah.
didn't listen to the Charlie Allman episode.
Well, you don't archive them. This is live or dead, isn't it?
No, we archive them.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so
I
we had
retract some of my
Charlie
other
Allman was on, and she told us about how she got mean girled by Katy Perry, and so now Katy Perry is on, she's on the shit list for the Helltown Radio, and I know that means a lot to her.
Unless she wants to call me.
I know that she's definitely going to lose a lot of sleep, and her vagina is going to shrivel up, and her left titty is going to fall off. But yeah,
Don't listen to him, Katie.
Yeah,
I'm telling you right now, Miss Perry.
Let her come on and tell her side.
Yeah, tell your side, and also like,
don't wear a lot when you do it.
No, I bet you got a Lamborghini or something, and I could like sit in their passenger and be like, get lucrative. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you could be her adopted black kid.
No. I'm talking more like create an anchor baby, and and then I'm talking. There's a Kevin Federline had a plan, and that's
K-Fed.
It's the reverse gold digger, and I'm planning on doing this. So Katie, holla at your boy. I'm extremely fertile. I can protect you. I strangle motherfuckers, and like, just give me your money. No, that will not work that way. That's something dudes can't really do unless you're like she's really old and you're really, really in good shape. And I'm not in really, really good shape, so I'm not gonna be anybody's cabana boy unless you're like Honey Boo Boo.
Speaking of so back to the metal.
Yeah. So Alistair and I's first band together was a band called Phantom Hourglass.
Yep.
And it was started by two other guys, and they were done playing with Alistair, so they kicked him out and kept me. We weren't sure how that was going to roll, but organically it worked out really well because what it did is it pissed off Alistair so much that he and I immediately started another band and did a heavy metalcore band. So no clean singing, a la very like Knock Loose, which I'm wearing the shirt right now, Orthodox, some of those heavier bands. And I got 8 great songs out of Pissed Off Alistair. He plays guitar, and
he's good at being pissed off, man.
He is.
That
he
dude
is.
is
I told him
really
it was
a
really like the best fit for it, and then I didn't have to quit Phantom Hourglass because that all got squashed. So Hollow Light is that band, and then right now he and I are working with a friend of ours, Kristen Lester, who owns the Harvest Tattoo. Shout out to them. And Justin Klein on drums, and Kevin, our other guitarist from Hollow Light, are working on a band called False Sense, which is a very pissed off political female-fronted hardcore band.
Ooh, I love it. I love that, man. That's tight. Yeah, I was repping some Phantom Hour, or I was repping. Yeah, was it Phantom Hour?
It was a Dixie-Phil shirt. That's all you wear.
No, actually, no.
This motherfucker was at Monument getting free shirts from every band he knew.
I paid for every single one of them.
And I looked
shirts,
at every
bro.
photo he's tagged in for the next year, and he's like, "Yo, wear my Dixie-Phil shirt."
Dude,
First of all, give me back my Hollow Light shirt. Damn.
First of all, I wore the Hollow Light shirt on 5 episodes of No Concessions. All right, 5 of them. Okay, there's that to be said. Number 2, dude, I have the Let's Blur the Line shirts that I got. Dude, let me tell you. So I wore that I was in Rehoboth Beach.
Mm-hmm.
Man, if you did not pick up like 25 people, new fans, like. Because people come up and be like, dude, what's up with that shirt?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, explain it. Like, you like metal? And like, just very coincidentally, everybody was like, I fucking love metal. I was like,
but like 5 Finger Death Punch metal or like metal?
I don't go past metal.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying about subgenres.
You know, it's sort of like, I don't talk politics. I don't talk about metal subgenres either.
Fair.
You know, that shit's a good 2 bad rabbit holes to go down. But so I wore that shirt. I will tell you that from that merch aspect is awesome. The other, the Hollow Light shirt, the Stone Cold joint.
Mm-hmm.
I have the Megazord of that, which is I got the Hollow Light patch on the sleeve, and then I got the pick. I got the guitar pick sewn in on the other sleeve. I call it the Megazord of merch. I'm just waiting to get to a show when I unleash it, or the next time I do stand up and it's gonna be of relevance, I'll wear it.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. I'm a hoe for shameless promotion.
Well, I was a founding member at Dixie-Phil, so it also still gets my ego going when you do that shit. So it don't matter to me.
I did not know that.
Yeah,
so,
Dixie-Phil started as me, a friend of mine, Jared, as vocals, and our friend Joel on guitar. And Jared's MySpace name, if this ages us at all, was Yeah Jared. So it was Yeah Jared and the Fury, which I'm glad that name didn't stick.
That sounds like a gay rollerblading movie.
I mean, it wouldn't have came off as much Southern metalcore if we kept it, I don't think. But Joel wrote the first 2 songs, and we shopped it together, and then we met Kyle and Nate, and then it was all history. And then Jared fell off, Joel fell off, and then eventually we parted ways.
Dude, I'll tell you, Josh, I have so much respect and love for you because you are the daddy of the Winchester metal scene.
You said that shit to Brandon last week. You can't be saying that to everybody that comes in.
I said daddy. I would say I just say daddy. Did I say daddy?
I'm just fucking with
you. No, I didn't say that. No, I said no, not at all. I think that he was a pioneer. I mean,
he's a capitalist. He's an exploitist. Brandon and I are good. It's just a joke. He's not listening.
Make that cheddar.
2-hour episode. He's not digging
No,
through it for the
but
sound
seriously,
bites.
because you're in so many bands and you have so much, like, you help promote so much shit, man. Like, it's really cool to see. And I always tell people that, like, the one thing that I do like about Winchester, like, one of the things, you know, I left there with a bad taste in my mouth, but it was
Should have swallowed.
I really enjoyed the fraternity that you and the other bands all have together, and like how cool everybody is, even in all the intermeshed and like homogenous, like, you know, somebody's played in this band or somebody's played in that band and all that, but there's always still people leave for whatever reason. But I never once got an inkling of hate. And one of my favorite, when I go through my phone sometimes and I go through like the past 3 years and I get to the section where it's like the pre-show antics of that metal show, and like you guys feeding each other, you know, chicken tenders, and everybody's having fun and shit. And that's just like, dude, it's so cool to see. And like also the pictures from like what was the show after that? There was
Sweet Life was the jam band show.
Yeah,
Or are you talking other metal shows?
Yeah, what metal show did you do after that?
The Return of Monolith was a big one.
Yeah, that was huge, man. Shout out to Reese, man. Good man. That motherfucker skyrocketed.
Legitimately one of the most talented and cute guys I know.
And one of the coolest, nicest dudes ever. He came into Vault and Cellar when I was working there in the kitchen. I saw him and I was like, no shit, man. I went out and got to talk to him. You know, he's a dude. He's such a salt of the earth guy, just so nice and unassuming and super cool.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to pay respect and homage to where it happened, my time in the scene was like 15-1 because, again, I was in Hampshire County, so I had to drive to the big city of Winchester. And everything I saw was shows at the VFW here in Front Royal. It was what was it called? Can't even think of it right now.
The Lucky Star?
No, it was the fucking... It doesn't even matter.
Blonde
I'll
Butthole.
figure it out. And there was a lot of house shows in Winchester, but like the legends in the scene for me growing up was like people who worked at Interpunk. Hello.
Oh yeah.
Like
Hey.
Thick Mike, Chris Cantus. There was a lot of people who were in the DIY scene. You know, like the first shirt my band ever got made was by a guy named Thick Mike who does Secret Society Press. And he was exposing shirts with a goddamn work lamp and cement blocks to get the exposure unit. You know,
Oh,
and
wow.
he's hand working the shit with a light to get shirts, and he's good at it. And he was printing every band shirt I ever knew in town. And I was like, all right, that's DIY. That's fucking cool. That's what I want to do. And again, the shows that I'm trying to think of, what the fuck, in Berryville, Little Hole in the Wall,
Oh,
GK Center.
there was
Got
another
it.
place in Purcellville I know that used to do shows. I forgot the fucking name of it, but we used to drive out to there when I was in bands. But there was like more punk rock shows. Fuck, what's the name of it? At that show, I saw some dude like smash a SM57 into his head until it bled. And I don't know if you guys know.
Is that G.G. Allen? Did he throw shit at the
No.
crowd?
It was some. I think the band was
Tattoo
called
me.
Mant or something like that.
Right.
But I just remember being like, you know, like a regular microphone with a round top, like you just had SM58.
Yeah.
Not that bad. Like you can get hit in the head when it's not gonna be that bad. But an SM57's got
flat.
it's flat. It's got a bunch of little like poker things on it. I was like, this dude knew what he was doing. He wanted to get a gusher.
He probably also part-time wrestled, which is some friends of ours did. There was a local circuit around here called APW.
Oh,
Apartment Pro Wrestling is what it started as.
apartment
Ah.
pro wrestling.
That's
Because it
fantastic.
started in apartments.
I'd watch that. I'm really not into the whole wrestling, but I would definitely.
Chris, your boy Kyle in Dixieville.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was one of the main ones for APW because Kyle and John grew up in towards Nashville in Tennessee, and they went to an actual wrestling school. Dropped out of high school, went to a wrestling school. Met with the guys up here in Winchester, came up to teach them wrestling and to do apartment wrestling, and then never left.
So
Kyle's
wild as
Kyle's
hell.
a transplant via apartment wrestling is how he ended up in Winchester.
whenever I think about
Cow.
pro wrestling school, I think about like it's probably 50% like, you know, they're teaching you how to do break falls and like things like that so you don't get hurt.
Yeah.
And the rest is like, now you ever thought about being somebody you're not? Now yell like him at somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all right, I'm a garbage man. I'm taking out the trash. Like how hard does that got to be? Like it's like improv acting, but it's shit you don't want to be.
It's also like the only time that you want to use a pun, but you know you shouldn't. Like you're trying to be taken serious and threatening, but you know there's a good pun in there.
And Vince McMahon's probably gonna try to shit on you.
Or he wants you just just coming in and help be part of the plugging.
You know,
Especially if you're large African men, he likes that.
You know, like I'm not gonna say that guy was smart, but he was smart enough to try to get that company sold before everybody knew he was like to do some people.
Well, you know,
Because that will significantly reduce your economic intake if people are like, oh yeah, he shits on people. I don't think you can recover from that one.
You know, the stock might have went up though.
Yeah, but like, did it go up? I bet you it went up because they got rid of him. Like, that's what I would do if that like it came out that our CEO was shitting on people. I'd be like, quit.
are you familiar with the Front Royal Wrestling Federation?
I am. Dixie Filth played a show at the garage. And
Okay.
they wrestled after, and they were still raising money for a real ring. So it was like ropes and sticks, and they were just beating the shit out of each other in front of a garage.
That's nice.
Very cool DIY show. Thoroughly enjoy it.
Yeah, man.
Do they do wild shit like hit each other with like fluorescent light?
Nah.
They're also an equal opportunity employer. If you want to talk about the Claw,
Yeah, man. The
Chad's
Claw,
out there
Chad.
doing 3/4 of work, getting 4/4 the pay. You know.
Well, that's where Sunny Six Shot comes in for the extra 2.
Shout out to Claudie Pine. That's
Yeah,
the sponsor of today's episode.
Oh man, dude, have you been to the Claudie Pine
I'm
before?
not. I know it.
You've been to the Claudie Pine.
She's
Yeah.
been the Claudie
You've
Pine
been to
as
the
well.
Claudie- We've all been to the Claudie Pine. Yeah, it's a the Claudie Pine is Chad Kinsey's house, and it has a nice karaoke machine and a deck. What other amenities? There's usually some nice snacks too.
Well, and I gotta tell you, like, he doesn't. It's not even his whole personality. Like, we were at a wedding of a friend, 2 friends of ours getting married, and we were just at the reception, and people's like, "Yeah, it's the Claw." He's like, "Yeah, how you doing? It's a really nice night." And they're like, "Let's go out back and you give us chops." And he
What?
Did, and he did it. We went out back of the fucking wedding venue. He's chopping people and choke slamming them, but he didn't initiate it. He wasn't begging for it. But, asking you
Claw?
shall
It's like,
receive.
yeah, I'll do
Hey
it.
man, the Claw is a local. He's a local icon, man.
I
You
should
know?
talk to him. When I once powerbombed somebody through a table at Interpunk.
Mhm.
We had a table. We put T-shirts on, and it was rickety. And this dude that worked there, he was I think he was a roadie named Filthy Fish Sticks. And then one day he had the bright idea. He was like, "Somebody could throw me through that table, and you don't have to tell me twice." And I was like, "Can I powerbomb you through a table?" And yeah, dude, he went right for it. And the tables do break the way you see them on TV. He went right through that motherfucker. So that was great. That was a great Tuesday at Interpunk.
I feel like Interpunk's gone too soon because you guys could have a really cool Tiny Desk series going for
Oh,
yourself at this
fuck.
point.
When the last couple of years we were working there, that dude Bob was trying to get a reality show about Interpunk. That would have been the worst thing ever because there was lots of wild shit that happened at that place. Whether it was like people like calling out because they were like, "I stayed up all night doing blow," like just fucking. I watched somebody break their arm to where it looked like a banana there because he was excited because he was about to go to Vegas the next day. Needless to say, he did not go to Vegas the next day. Like, I walked around the corner and the top part of his arm was bent like this.
Ooh.
And fucking the manager of the warehouse looked down. He's like, "Do we need to call an ambulance?" I was like, "Fuck yeah!" Like he walked around and he was holding his wrist, and this whole part was like, "Yeah."
He's so glad
Yeah.
that ACAB doesn't include fucking EMTs, right?
Yeah. They had to move out like rows of T-shirts to get the gurney in there to get him out the fucking front door.
Ugh.
That's
Yeah.
the most less than Jake shirt you ever moved, huh?
It might have been a whole section of Riverdale's or Screeching Weasel. Fucking we had, oh dude. The funniest thing I ever did see there was Ben Wyman from Dillinger Escape Plan came in with his girlfriend and the tiniest dog I've ever seen, and he walked in like like he was about to go to like some type of like tea party, and he was like looking at T-shirts. Like littlest Pomeranian I've ever seen. It was like the size of a fucking hand. He was just like he literally walked in like.
There was a really good interview back when Milk Lizard and everything came out with that album.
Yeah.
And they asked him, like, what do you think your genre is? Because you're really noisy at parts, but, like, Milk Lizard's really catchy. And he was like, honestly, we're metrosexual. We like looking good. We go shopping a lot. Like, just completely made fun of and moved right past that fucking question
Oh, yeah.
with so much tact. Like, Ben Wyman is also a fucking king of DIY. From
Dude.
Party Smasher Inc. to Dillinger Escape Plan, like, that man gets shit done.
The most nuts thing I ever saw was like on Warped Tour was like basically like when that show started with them on Warped Tour, Greg came out and threw the fucking mic stand in the crowd and they just started playing. And I was standing on the side of the stage, and I was like, I'm so happy I'm up here. Because that was like, dude, imagine the person that got hit with that microphone stand. No matter where it hit, it fucked them up. Like, the show didn't stop. Nobody stopped to look for that guy. They just, yeah.
But it's also, you look back and you look at that video of them at the Virgin Record store where he runs out into the crowd
on people's
and
heads.
someone out there's like, that's my face he's stepping on right there. Like, that's their claim to fame, is like, that's me getting fucked up by Craig right there, getting stepped on.
I mean, at least it didn't bleed on him.
Chris, you want to talk about Alistair? Since I'm a few years older, my rite of passage for Warped Tour and everything else was my mom driving me there, as one does. And she's cool. She stayed. She learned a lot of bands. AFI is one of my favorites, one of hers. She went to a hymn concert with me at the 930 Club when I'm 13. I was like, I want to feel love metal. I'm sad. She's like, I'm here with you. But at Warped Tour, they started the reverse daycare tent, all this other shit.
Yep.
So up until I could drive, my mom was the cool one that took me to the show. So when Alistair and my mom and his dad got together, I was like, I'm going to be that for Alistair. You know, we're skipping the parent phase. So him and his twin brother spent the night at my house the night before Warped Tour. We drive him up to Warped Tour. And like you said, like a proud dad, I'm like, you're going to see the shit show. And like 2 iconic things happened at the Warped Tour when we went. One was Dillinger Escape Plan, because Alistair liked chaotic music. He's really Tony Tap Dance, extravaganza, shit like that. Yeah. And but like Dillinger and the Chariot are match none for fucking energy.
Yeah.
So Chariot wasn't there for this year, but Dillinger was. And Dillinger immediately sets off, and Alistair had seen videos. He's like, you think they're going to spit fire at this one? I was like, probably not, bud, but we're going to watch. And halfway through the set, Ben leans over on the stage and just vomits because it's so hot out. He's like covered, you know, he's wearing full clothing and he's jumping around. And Alistair's like, he just vomited. I'm like, yes, he did, son. Yes, he did. And he's like, this is fucking awesome. I was like, yeah, this is it. And then Bring Me the Horizon was there, and they were still big, but they weren't like ungodly big like they are. They were Warped Tour size. And Ollie Sykes said, we got these fucking skateboard decks, and we're giving the first one to the naked crowd surfer. And I don't know if the kid, it was an inside job or not, but the fucking 2 seconds later, this naked guy comes crowd surfing. And I'm not talking from like 3 people deep to the front. He was like 100 people deep. Oh, this fucking body's coming. And Alistair's just watching this man's penis bounce around. And I'm not going to say that woke up anything in him, but he ain't been the same since. And the kid gets to the stage, and they give him the skateboard deck, and he runs off to the side, and one of the photographers gets a picture of him holding the skateboard over his shit. And then security starts talking to him. I was like, oh my God, they're going to fucking throw him out. And the band pauses to make sure he's not getting thrown out, but they were just trying to help him get back to his clothes without being sexually assaulted, because he was probably 15 himself. But yeah, like Warped Tour in its heyday was, I mean, it was everything to me. It was a sampler, and you would use that to then figure out every tour you wanted to see for the next year.
Yeah, you get I know, like, my first year was probably when they were still at RFK Stadium.
Okay.
In the parking lot. And I remember bands would give away shoes. It was like a huge thing.
Yeah, because you lost your fucking... I mean, throwing shoes was the fucking norm, which was wild.
I know the first year I went, Bad Religion was there. They had the Bad Religion barbecue tent. So that was but there was all kinds of stuff. Like, we would go to specific, like record labels. You go to Fat Wreck and get all the Fat Records, compilations, like short music and everything, or Honest Dons. You get all those. And yeah, it was like a sampler. You're like, all right, cool. Like, I'll figure out what I want to see the rest of this year. Also, the Fat Wreck tour that would come around, that would go to, I guess, Capitol Ballroom back in the day. That was awesome. I remember seeing like No Effects, Real McKenzie's, Dropkick Murphys, like all kinds of bands.
Yeah, I think I started going in '99, and by like 2001 or 2002, I convinced my mom to take our white trash vacation, because we were white trash poor, to Virginia Beach for 2 days so I could see the Warped Tour at Virginia Beach, because 3 bands I liked were there and not at fucking Jiffy Lube Live or whatever it's called now. And we did. We went. And I honestly remember it ended my mom's relationship with the redneck she was with, because we went down and he doesn't understand why I'm wearing girls' pants or a youth large fucking t-shirt at 14 years old. And, and he was like, that's kind of weird. They're all kind of gay. And my mom's like, fuck you, that's what he's into. So like, one, my mom's been down forever, love her for that. But 99 2000 was my start with it. So like I said, Rancid was still big for it. Bad Religion I was a huge fucking fan of, and got to see Casualties before they got canceled for being rapist piece of shit. Like, there's a lot of good bands. Bouncing Souls, like like I still somewhere to this day have Go-Kart Records did a thing called the MP300.
Yeah.
And it was one of the first data CDs, which I didn't even know what the fuck that meant. but
Big old CDs.
2 songs from 150 bands to make a 300 song comp
Yep.
on a
Wow.
data CD. And that shit got ripped to my computer. None of them had titles. Like, fucking still reading off the back of the list to figure out who I like.
I really like. It was a thing I was talking to my daughter about because there's kids aren't in bands like they used to be. I remember having like local compilations that would come out, like whether it was like I remember there was a venue called Phantasmagoria, and there was a guy that had like a zine that came out of there, and they would just do their own, or like I remember the Smash Board, all kinds of just wild shit that used to go on around here that just like the younger generation does not have. They just I don't know if they just don't have an interest in playing live music or playing instruments, or if it's just not something they're into. But I also didn't know that there was a large metal scene out in Winchester.
Yeah,
So-
they don't mosh at all, though. I know you guys talked a little about moshing last week, and yeah, no, I think the answer is it's always like emulation, right? Like
Yeah.
every band that I knew made me want to be in a band. So like growing up in this area, it was Lucky So Far and NR Acoustic, Kill the Car, On Call. They were a lot of punk and heavy bands, and I was like, all right, this is my tribe. This is what I fuck with. So naturally, you wanted to make music like that. You wanted to be
Yeah.
around those people. And I'm just old enough that I saw a couple DIY venues come and go in Winchester. Like I said, VFW here in Front Row doesn't do shit anymore. Justin Matthews, who did the logo for Catamount Lounge, I was telling Chris, did a slew of shows in the 2010 of the world before he had a wife and kid. And respect him for doing it for the time he did it, because people fucked his basement up. There was Hank House in Winchester that brought a lot of hardcore bands out that way in a suburban basement of a house they were renting. They didn't get that security deposit back. So I mean, I think that's the answer for me, is like, I was lucky enough to find people who had DIY venues, even if it was their own basement, even if it was their parents' basement. And, not everyone picks up that mantle, not everyone's expected to, but when it's not, like you said, it really does fucking suffer.
Yeah, I know the Manassas scene kind of died. There was a band that me and my friends were in, and there was a bunch of younger bands like Cab Ride Home and Nurtured by Malevolence, and all those guys played at that place, the Garage.
Mm-hmm.
And once the Garage, it became weird. Garage went from being like punk rock and metal, like 300 kids, to all of a sudden doing a lot of EDM. And I
Yeah.
don't know if that was like around when, certain, like a generation of kids will hit different drug milestones, I will say.
I was gonna say it's better.
And
drugs.
like for us, it was like weed and drinking. So that doesn't really change a lot of the stuff. But I think once you get on like more stimulants, EDM becomes a little bit more, the same people that are doing more like coke and speed
Mm-hmm.
are more interested in that. So the people that are coming around to do those things rather than drinking and smoking without parental like guidance are going to be going to another venue where, oh yeah, we're going to do ecstasy and
Yeah.
we'll like listen to EDM.
Well, I have a theory on that too, because this is like, I was sort of in the EDM culture. I was going to Nation a lot. I was promoting for them, and I did photography for a very short stint. And then when they closed down, there's nowhere else to go unless you went to Baltimore. So people that were getting into these clubs that were underage or like at 18, because you can get into the place at 18, they couldn't drive all the way to Baltimore where they moved. So the other option was to go to these DIY type places and experience EDM. So there wasn't a lot of stuff going on in DC or like even in the surrounding area because of that Fox.
Oh, the Fox 5.
Yeah.
Y'all are on drugs and
Under
underage.
investigation, yeah. So I remember when they initially shut down, and then there was an influx of things going on, especially in Manassas and Arlington and Alexandria. And then, when they opened back up, everybody went back there.
Yeah, Manassas loves its drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
But no, there's renaissance for everything. In the hardcore community, COVID really was an opportunity for a lot of bands to pop off, and a lot of bands released demos during COVID and then immediately started touring in big ways. Like a gang called Speed is out of Australia. They pretty much put out a demo in COVID, and by the time COVID had let up, they were doing at least like mid-range fucking tours even in America. And bands like Knock Loose ended up on Coachella, which is wild. You know what I mean? The band Turnstile is one of the biggest fucking bands in the world, and that's Baltimore. That's Baltimore OG.
Turnstile was surprising because I remember my friend Streets legend Juicy Tetrazzini. Was from Baltimore. He's a spray paint. He does a lot of like graffiti art and all kinds of stuff. And I remember him talking about his friends from Turnstile. And then when they blew up, I was like, "That's your friends?" And he's like, "Yeah. They were just like we skated together, and they just lived in a row house."
It's absolutely wild. Half their members were either in Trapped Under Ice or Angel Dust. Like it's a whole incestuous like 3 bands that share members, and they would rotate when records would release and tour based on that availability. It's almost like waiting their turn. And then Turnstile ruined the blunt rotation because they fucking blew up and they went worldwide, and like good for them. You know what I mean? Like good for them.
It is kind of nuts because they are just a little bit more produced traditional hardcore from like a lot of like the song structure. I mean, they have they do a lot of like their Tiny Desk performance is kind of like nuts. The fact that he's just sitting there and like playing like a Rhodes and just
and that art installation of all the stuffed animals from some artists they liked and was like, hey, this is our shot to bring you along for an NPR thing.
That is another thing. It seems like they're you can tell that they're the outward stuff that they're doing isn't like even the way they do their videos. It has that the way that the scene used to feel when I was younger, like showing like all their friends. It's not all about like look at us. It's like it looks like they have a nice community set up and like
it's like we talk about the GK and like the VFW shows that I used to go to. There wasn't enough bands of one genre to have a one genre show. Yeah. So many shows I went to was a pop punk band and a metalcore band and just some fucking weird band. And you learned who your neighborhood of artists was. And a lot of people fucked with each other in a way that they don't now because there's so many that you can just pick a lane and stay in it. Mm-hmm. And I still to this day love a fucking mixed genre show. And I still to this day I love a friend whose playlist feels like musical ADD. You know what I mean? Like someone who fucks with so many things. And like I said about the bands that I'm in, I joked about like to someone else it's just it's metal. But for me, like metallic hardcore with no clean vocals, a political hardcore band, a sing-song MySpace band, like these are scratching itches that I've always loved as a person that I would never make one band want to be. Because you can't be all those things. But organically, you can find people you fuck with that want to do that thing. And like Chris has seen it. I've made the joke. I got 8 band ideas in my fucking head. And not like I could produce the whole goddamn. I don't want to do it myself. But every genre that has an amazing artist, I want to create art like that at some point in my life.
It is nuts. I don't know if everybody's experienced this, but like when you play in bands, there's always that car ride where you're going to get snacks or something in the middle of band practice. That is always like a mind-blowing thing because if people get in the car with a band, like if you're getting in with a punk rock band, all of a sudden they're listening to like fucking Joni Mitchell or fucking some weird shit. You get in the car and you expect them to like dudes with mohawks to be listening to like I don't know like Blank 77s or something like that, but
something they look like,
But then all of a sudden they're putting on some like wild ass like fucking I don't know like Coulter Lane or something like some fucking weird country music, and it's just like weird because like I know myself, the drummer of my band made the comparison, and it's I don't know if it's a fair comparison, but it was always funny. He was like it's the same way that porn addicts got to keep searching out weird shit. Like if you get addicted to music, you're like, oh, what's this weird shit? And like it's like I want to listen to it.
Well, it's also like you said, the more and more you find out why you like music, and it's like it's lyrical content, or it's how genuine they are, or that a song fucking rips.
Yeah.
And there's so much fast grass and punk bluegrass and traditional bluegrass that fucking rips. I'm talking 220 BPM on a song that doesn't have double fucking kick on it, Just an upright bass fucking going wild, and that shit resonates. You want to hear a barn burner in the country scene. You want to hear a fucking banger when it comes to metal or EDM. Like, there are things that you'll find across all genres that you fuck with. Like,
oh yeah, I know.
Remember looking up fucking Sturgill Simpson lyrics.
Yeah,
and he was like, "Hey, we're invading Iraq for heroin, but you're looking down at your phone." And I was like, "This song called Arms is heavy as fuck." Oh, and then he did the bluegrass cut of it, and he sped it up and like fast talked all of it. And I was like, this got heavier when he cut it from country to bluegrass. And like, if you're not fucking with other genres, if you're not looking for things, if you're not finding what you're doing it wrong. There's no right way to do it, but like you're missing out.
Like I know the last couple years I was at Interpunk. I know Hank 3 got really big.
Fucking love it.
And then we had like other stuff that I don't know if it was so much harder, but like Oakville River and stuff like that. A lot of like, and even like Against Me when they first came out. Like I
Mhm.
know that was a big thing in like punk rock. All of a sudden, a lot of people were doing acoustic albums.
Everyone
like,
was hopping trains again. Yeah.
like Tim Barry and all that other stuff. But that sort of stuck around. There is like that whole like, I don't want to say like people copied it, but it just made it more accessible where more people wanted to hear it, so they went out looking for it.
For sure. And I think like we talked about like with DIY, if there's a DIY version of something in any genre, they have very similar mindsets about doing it
Oh, yeah.
themselves and what corporations and greed do to music. And like those ideas are always inherently what punk and hardcore is to me. So like there's just punk versions of everything. And like you said with like bluegrass and Americana and stuff, like from this area, Acoustic was just an Against Me ripoff band. Shout out to all them. I love them. And then they eventually became Gallows Bound, and they were their whole own thing, and they toured the fucking world. They did Europe 2 or 3 times in their heyday of it. And again, like you said, like Benjamin Todd or Lone Dog Street Band, stuff like that, Lost Dog Street Band, like those are people with face tattoos that happen to play country music, and it's because they support those genres, they fuck with them, they have some tie to it maybe, but inherently, like you look at them, you're like, I can't tell if you're in a metal band or a bluegrass band, and it's because like they fuck with those types of music. And
I know there's a lot of like even Baroness. If you listen to a lot of the like their
Mhm.
guitar parts, it sounds like just like distorted, like I don't want to say country music, but like a lot of finger picking and more like they're using Strats and like Jazz Master, so it's more that jangly sound. But it is nuts. Punk rock did change a lot after the 2000s, I think, and I think it has to do with people just being like, I'll listen to whatever music I want to without like a lot of rules, because it seemed like in the early 90s there were a lot of goddamn rules. Like people would be like, I play this style of music, I play pop punk, or I play this or that, and like people do it now, but it seemed like record labels were more into signing the same exact bands. But if you look at like, I don't know, like Epitaph from like 94, where it's like half the bands sound like Bad Religion,
yeah,
and now where it's like, what the fuck, there's all kinds of like Bring Me the Horizon being on
Mhm.
Epitaph is a kind of a weird thing, and they have even rap acts. So like I think it's more punk rock became an attitude in terms of like the way that people interact with the world and with their art.
yeah. Well, I think as soon as you start defining what the sound,
What you playing over there?
he's bored. He said, "I'm getting Fruit Ninja out. I'm fucking." This.
Man, you know what? It's like it was this alarm. I have a 10 o'clock alarm set for some reason. I forget what it was, but yeah, that was terrible. But I was actually just making sure we had some snacks on the way.
Oh.
So Domino's and Front Royal. I hope you're all listening. Y'all are the best. And whoever the driver is, come on in and drop a line.
I tend to ramble too. So you guys
Spelunkers,
gotta
we're
cut
looking
me
for
and
that.
George off.
For that.
I ate a
sponsorship,
Spelunkers
too.
just early today. I had
Man,
myself a
yeah,
double
that's-
Cavern burger with motherfucking bacon. So if you
Double
want-
with bacon.
Double
The
with bacon.
DP with
the
bacon.
DP with bacon.
Double
young.
patty.
Yeah, dude. Mm.
They can't see us, but he's still sweating it out. I can see
Oh, dude,
it.
I'm fucking breathing it out my pores.
Man. Yeah, that's amazing, man. Oh shit.
So we haven't talked about this. What's happening March 1st, Chris?
March 1st is going to be a Freaky Friday at the Big Feline on Main Street. It's going to be a massive crossover of promotional mayhem, pandemonium even. And it's going to be Helltown Radio is going to be broadcasting live from the back of the Catamount Lounge. We encourage local artists to drop in and play a song. Please contact us beforehand so we can make arrangements. It's going to be super fun. We're going to have the Sneaky Snakes. We're going to sneak on in, and they're going to be sneaky with us. And shout out to everybody on the Sneaky Snakes. And what else are we going to do? We're going to have some, I think it's just going to be a good time. I think it's going to be fun because we'll be able to, just bullshit in a different.
You know what?
Yeah,
I might
different
just
sound.
I might do a challenge there.
All right.
Oh.
So I might challenge somebody to eat a certain sandwich from a location in Front Royal.
The Helltown, the hotter than Helltown.
The hotter than Helltown. You think
Oof,
somebody?
I mean,
If you do it, I'll buy you a scotch
One-
on the
French-
rocks.
One
French
singular
tickler.
drink.
a gas
I mean-
station French tickler.
I mean, I'll grab your butt cheeks and buy you a drink.
We were talking about that the other day. Chef Chris over at the Catamount Lounge. and he wanted to get those like the gas station condom dispensers that also have the sex toys, the sex novelties. Or
yeah,
whatever.
those are great.
Yeah, the French tickler. Like, what happened to the French tickler? I feel like that's a sex toy that just kind of like got.
And once the Hitachi wand came out, it was fucking everything was passe. That shit,
yeah, but the French tickler was just like something. It was like a toupee for your penis. And like
I think a lot of people
basically
got pregnant and they probably just realized it was
either that or they were.
like I feel like the French tickler and the diaphragm died out around the same time.
That's like a false sense of security. You know what I mean? You get a French tickler and then you go to town and you feel the cap and you have none of the positive, like a lot of pregnancy. Is my guess.
Is this from experience or from speculation?
I mean, I have a kid. I know my shit works. So
Yay! I can dig it. Same here.
I mean, I bet you a bunch of those gas station things aren't really like they're more seen as novelties. So I don't know if they're.
It says novelty on there. I mean,
so it's probably not safe to be putting in your vagina. So there's probably some infections that led to people being like, "Got to do away with these things."
I feel like if you are the type of person that is using a French tickler, then sex is probably a novelty in general. It's not a regular mainstay of your routine. Speaking of like weird sex routines, we were talking about some dendrophilia earlier and people fucking trees and
yeah,
Penn State.
and
So I didn't even know this
so-
guy. Like, Rachel had sent me like this link, and I had to, admittedly, I had to Google the guy's name and
is it Rachel
found out.
Feldesger?
No.
Justin
Another
Tenpenny.
She's
Rachel.
listening, so howdy.
So I guess his name is. I'm probably
Justin?
gonna like.
Justin Tenpenny. I think you can just say that.
Justin
I'm gonna fuck up this
Tenpenny.
dude's name.
It was
What?
The gentleman from PA's name is Justin Tenpenny.
He's
Go
the
ahead,
guy
Nico.
who likes, he likes
Ooh.
weird sex stuff.
This dude was also an award-winning.
Yeah, that's what like I googled it and I was like, oh, award winning. So apparently, like last June, he got caught like fucking a dog, and begged the police to kill him. They did not kill him, but now he's under a magnifying glass again because they found a bunch of videos. One of which where he is like traipsing through a park in just his mask and climbs up some sort of thing and decides to fuck a tree branch. I don't know how you and a lollipop.
So hold on. So we got to tell he's not even he's not fucking the tree. He's not putting his dick in the tree. This man is climbing up the tree and inserting the tree branch and the lollipop into his anus. Themis Matatukis, he is 64. He's already charged with the aforementioned bestiality case. He has been charged with lewdness, indecent exposure, and sexual intercourse with an animal cruelty, after police said he had been seen on video in sensual acts with a collie.
Yeah, and then,
Sensual?
It was sexual.
Oh, sexual.
Yeah,
Was it
honestly,
sensual? They were like, there's Barry White playing in the back, incense burning.
You'll never find
Peanut butter
bloom,
on my
bloom,
bones.
bloom, bloom, bloom.
like, how do you get to that level? I don't understand. Like, it has to be drugs or maybe undiagnosed sort of mental illness.
I don't want to give credit where credit's due. Full stop on the animal cruelty. But if you're 64 and can still climb a tree, I do think you can do whatever you want with it.
So he's a chemical engineering professor. He begged the troopers to kill him, saying though the sex acts helped him blow off steam. He's also been hit with an additional batch of charges because they downloaded everything off his computer, and there were over 55 different videos found that have led to the new charges. Woo.
Yeah, crazy. Like I can't even imagine how you escalate to that where it's just like.
Well, what's the story about the woman who used to have a dolphin boyfriend? Remember that thing?
Oh yeah, there was a lady it was actually the lady that was connected to, I want to say, Dr. Rick Strathman. He was what Altered State was based on. He would take ketamine and get into sensory deprivation tanks and try to communicate with other people. Apparently, somebody got into one tank and injected themselves intravenously with ketamine. Then they started freaking out, and instead of opening the original sensory deprivation tank, Strathman decided to, or John Lilly rather, decided to get into the other tank after dosing himself with ketamine to calm the other guy down. And apparently it worked. Now, I don't know if it really worked or if he just was like, it worked. But one of his assistants, they were also trying to figure out dolphin language, and he would get into the tank and try to like fucking talk to the dolphin. But to calm the dolphins down, because they had this house that basically like to be, I guess, become close with the dolphins, they would like just like hang out in there. Apparently, to calm him down so they could do these tests, one of the ladies would jerk off the dolphins.
That's some wild shit.
Yeah, so don't do ketamine and hang out with them motherfuckers. But also,
Well, like jacking off dolphins, though.
not only did Matsoukas insert a Tootsie Roll Pop into his anus, he also took the control handle of a DCNR John Deere crawler and shoved that up his anus.
Oh my god.
So he's
That's
just walking
crazy.
around
You said
throwing.
he's a chemical engineer.
Ooh, even
He was
more.
listening to that song.
He apparently
We roll around on a big green tractor.
He defecated all over things and then smeared his bodily fluids on himself in a glass table.
Oh my god.
Man, this sounds like
He went
Wow,
hard
like
as
this
fuck.
is this is craziness. I
sounds
have
like-
to I have to think it's drugs. I
It's
have to. Or
weed.
it's like
this sounds
some
like a
sort of-
Phantom Hourglass
like, you-
green room story.
Right. You
Just
said he was a
remember
chemical
that-
engineer, right?
Well,
like
Yeah.
he
Not
probably made some fucking crazy concoction and was like, let me just try this out.
Well, you know, and if he's got tenure there, he's still got a job.
Yeah.
well.
Trying
Not
to get
only
fired
did-
when you got tenure.
That's amazing, yo. Get your
Just
tenure
come back
and
in
then
on
get your
Monday, yeah, like
Yo, man, remember that time that old F dog went up the tree and
well, imagine being the dude that's got to run that fucking John Deere the next day, and you walk out and it's like, man, I can't even put this thing in gear, bruh.
it smells.
Like,
It
why is
smells
there
funny.
shit on this?
But a bunch of the videos were reportedly found not only on his computer, but they had. He was at the state park when he was shitting and rubbing it on himself. So there's trail footage of him
Oh my
doing.
God.
just him doing the Yeti pose, walking and controlling his ass.
They really do exist.
Fuck. He also got hit with 2 charges of felony burglary and criminal trespass, 6 misdemeanors, including indecent exposure, 2 misdemeanor counts of open lewdness, 2 misdemeanor counts of disorderly conduct, and 6 summary counts of disorderly conduct for obscene gestures. Like, was he like flicking people off while he's rubbing shit on himself or something?
Oh, that's fantastic.
They reached him for reached his defense lawyer, and he said it would be inappropriate for me to comment.
No fucking shit.
But he also earned his PhD from Michigan and was with Penn State since 1991. Penn State has a history of fucking weirdos being there. Sandusky starting that nonprofit so he can molest children.
Man, listen, dude, I get really mad when that subject comes on because you know what? They should have taken away that football program from that school forever and ever. Amen. Because because they defended rampant sexual assault on children on the behalf of a shitty fucking football program. Not even a good one. They won a championship like one time ever, and it was scary. And then they're like, "Oh, Joe Paterno. Oh, Joe Pa." Man, I hope Joe Pa is playing fucking backgammon with Beelzebub right now, and at the same time getting it from like John Ritter and Biggie Smalls at the same time.
Right, but you made an interesting point that they didn't win enough championships. How many championships is enough?
If
for
they
you?
won
That's exactly
9.
what I'm saying, man.
How many until Chris is on the opposite side of this conversation?
Okay, let's see. I think legitimately, let's go by like rule of 5, right? So like 5 championships.
Once you
and
get 5, you can
and
get
you can go to Epstein's Island.
But
You can have the collegiate Epstein's Island at your. No, I'm just kidding. You should never do that ever. Period.
So
No, you know what? But that was a kind of it was supposed to be a sideways joke though because it is like you know what I'm saying? Like Penn State fans act like it was like the greatest program ever. It's like sorry, Penn State fans. Anybody Penn State fans out there? If I offended you, good.
I know. I worked with a kid one summer. He came and he was summer help on a construction job, and he came from State College, Pennsylvania. And I was like, oh yeah, that's where Penn State was. That's some wild shit. And he was like, didn't want to talk about it. It was just like one of those things. It was like
he's like, nah, man, I didn't go to Jerry Sandusky's house and slob on the knob like corn on the cob.
I
because
think it was
he gave
more
me
that whole town.
candy.
That whole town was built around that school. So I think if you're from there, it's like it's like if your dad's an alcoholic or like something bad happened. Like it's just something you don't want to talk about. Like it's so personal to them. And like I get it to a certain extent, but you gotta be like, nah, he did that shit. Like,
But did he roll up in Chris's purple Ferrari? Maybe there's a reason he wasn't talking.
Yeah, it's the purple Lambo.
I felt the same way about OJ when I was younger. Like, cause my dad was one. He was like, no, he definitely did that shit. He used to beat his wife. What, you think he wouldn't kill her? Like, and some people would be like, nah, he didn't do it, fucking, and we're real happy that he got off. I always just looked at it as like, he's rich. Like, it was more like a person that had a bunch of money and paid to get off.
I don't know, man. I mean, I think, man, OJ.
Remember how many championships OJ won before Chris defends him?
Makes it okay.
And them Hertz commercials. He was hurdling shit in the
He was
airport.
in the Naked Gun, for Christ's sake, guys.
Oh, dude.
How
Imagine,
could he commit murder if he was a cop on a movie? The math on that, do that, all right?
dude, it definitely it was eye raising. I think it had a lot to do with like other shit, but it was just like, we got one.
Oh, dude, what was the? I watched. Have we talked about that American Nightmare thing yet? About the girl who got kidnapped and then
We haven't talked about it. I know
Have you seen it
she's.
yet? Did you see
she
it?
watched the shit out of it.
I watch all of that shit. That's all I do. Is watch
Dude, wasn't
crime.
that the most wild? Did you see that
Yeah.
shit?
I did see that shit.
So what's this about? I clue me in. I have not seen it.
Okay, so at the center of this, you have a couple who are going through a turbulent time because the boyfriend is hollering at his ex-girlfriend, and they all work together, mind
Allegedly.
you. Yeah, her name was Andrea, and I remember this because she becomes like, for some reason, like she's banging like 7 people in the show. It's
Good,
like
good for her.
Yeah, no, that's what I want to know. At the center of this, the mystery wasn't necessarily the kidnapping thing, and it wasn't necessarily like the possibility of it being a murder. I was just wondering what Andrea's thing is doing, that she was involved with. She had a dude trying to break up with his girlfriend to get back with her. One of the investigators was also banging her, and I think she was somehow connected to the dude who was and the dude who was that kidnapped his girlfriend meant to kidnap that chick Andrea. So what is Andrea doing to get all these dudes vexed in this small circle? And you know what they say, there's no such thing as coincidence in forensic science. So that punani was,
She got that guac guac.
yeah, she was
Guac guac.
Just know that that's not actually at all what the documentary is about, but that's what it was about for Chris.
it was. That's what it
All right,
was.
what's it actually about?
Yeah.
That's what it was to me, all right?
Literally, the police get a call that this girl's been kidnapped
Uh-huh.
by her boyfriend, who's relatively calm.
Mhm.
They immediately think he did it, and they ask him what happened. He's like, "We woke up, we got blindfolded. They were like a tactical team. They tranquilized us both. They told me if I told anyone, they'd kill me. I woke up and there was a camera up in the corner of our room set up watching me, and I very discreetly and took a chance called the cops, and now you're asking me why I did it. Like, I don't know." And they're like, "Oh yeah, he fucking did it. He fucking did it." And they get, I think it was a ransom demand. He gets a ransom demand. He forwards it to the cops and it's like, "Please give us $70 billion. Like, just like outlandish thing. And then the heat turns up, right? And then all of a sudden she shows up 200 miles away at her parents' house 4 days later, walking down the road. So immediately the cops are like, "We shouldn't interview her and see who took her. We should assume she did it because she saw the movie Gone Girl. Everyone saw that movie. It's a great movie. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 7 out of 10. She did it."
Yeah.
So
That's how many tomatoes
so
it
they
takes.
fucking drill her the day she gets back, and they're like, "Hey, we know you did it. We know you're just fucking lying." She's like, "I'm so traumatized, it's hard to process." And they're like, "Yeah, because you lied, right?" And they whole ass don't find the guy. They think she fucking did it. They're harassing them about it. And then all of a sudden, turns out 2 towns over, girls have been getting kidnapped like this already. It's a serial fucking case.
Yeah.
It's just
It's
going
Like
on.
they just didn't believe her.
Lazy
Yeah.
ass
And-
policeman.
Fucking
And then
cross-reference it
finally
at
she was
all.
vindicated.
Dude.
And the cop from the other town 2 over heard about her case, found one fucking piece of evidence in her case, and cracked the whole goddamn thing and justified it for this girl.
Yeah, that's what you got to
Yeah.
get. You got to
Man.
get that chief of police out of there.
I did feel
Yeah.
terrible after the first episode because I was like, man, this bitch, she did it herself. She kidnapped
Oh,
herself.
It
I was like,
felt that
she
way.
kidnapped herself. And then
Yeah.
you find out she didn't. I was like, oh, I'm so
Well,
sorry
it's
that
a
you had to go
roller
through
coaster, too,
that.
because at one point, the cops
so
are saying to,
outlandish.
the cops are saying to her, "You fucking did it. We're going to charge you." They get an email from the supposed kidnapper that said, "She didn't do it. I did it. And if you don't believe me, I'll do it again." And I was like, to this day, I'm like, I think she and her boyfriend wrote that.
Yeah.
It was very specific. It was like, I am the raper, and she didn't do it, and I'm real,
The
and I'll
raper?
do it
Yeah,
again.
it just
It's a
sounded so
rapist.
weird, you know?
No one
So-
called himself the raper, I'm
He
pretty
called
sure.
him Raper?
The raper.
far as you know.
So, so Lita
Yes,
watches.
I'm Mr. Raper.
Lita watches 99% of every show that she watches is stuff like this. Where do you rank this one on your scale of fuck uppiness?
I would say a good 10 because like
No.
it kind of like opens your eyes. Like a lot of these, the girl says like the whole reason why people don't come forward is because nobody believes them, and that's
I didn't
like
believe
the
her.
bigger issue here. So like I liked it for that kind of like exposed like this shit that's still going on, especially with rape culture and stuff. Like women largely aren't believed, and they just sit in silence and like, oh well, I guess I'm just gonna have to live with this trauma for the rest of my life. So I really liked it, and it was really well written and well told.
And so, but I will say this: a couple things that were my takes from it. Number one was where I thought it was bullshit was when they were like, yeah, like he used NyQuil and Benadryl mix. It was like some weird ass like over the counter mixture is what he used to drug. It's like you always think about chloroform or like whatever, like what are they like silver nitrate or whatever and shit like that.
I feel like those are the quicksand of movies, though. I feel like the
Right.
Benadryl one's believable because I've seen people robo-trip.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean, but you don't think that like as if you were to be a bad guy, wouldn't you want to like get some like cool drugs to do it with?
You
like
want to do it
ketamine
right
at
now?
least?
See how much NyQuil to put you out?
Let's go, dude.
I will
But
say
If I'm waddling out of my Hyundai accent tomorrow, you know that we had-
like my experience on that, because I had like sciatica, like back issues, so I had to go to emergency room because I didn't know what it was at the time, like, and I told them I wanted something to just make the pain go away, but I didn't want to be all fucked up. Like, please don't give me opioids, just give me something. And they gave me Benadryl, oddly, and it fucking worked. It made me really calm and tired
yeah,
and very lethargic. So when they give you a liquid dose intravenously of that shit, it will knock you on your ass.
You know what else
Like-
it's great for? It's great for child rearing. So just like, if you need like,
You want to
if-
shut the
if-
fuck up and go to sleep?
if you're having trouble with kids, be like, hey, eat this. Put it in like
tired.
Yeah,
okay.
the gentrified Benadryl is melatonin.
yeah, right.
We
And
got a
that shit was-
family member who pops their kids with chewable melatonin every night just to say night-night.
But you remember how bad it got because adults would be like popping tons of it and they would like, barely affect them. They're like, it's not gonna do shit to the kids. And then they were giving it to kids. Kids were like show up to school like nodding off like, you know.
So real quick, you give it a 10 on a this versus that type of rating, or on like a rubric? Like there's a bunch of 10s out there. Because I just want to clarify: have you seen Lover, Stalker, Killer?
Ooh.
Yes.
Because that's just fucking
I've
wild.
seen, yeah, that
And
one.
would you rate it higher, lower, or the same? That's why I'm not trying to shit on your rating.
I would say like lower than that, because that one's fantastic. I just watched
fucking wild.
it. Yeah, that one. Is
Have you
really
seen
good.
Lover, Stalker, Killer?
No, I have not.
I
Like,
told you about.
She
that
told
one.
me that was the.
I was like, we gotta watch that.
That's the one where the lady is like fakes being somebody else,
Yes.
and then like kidnaps somebody else or takes somebody else's identity. Like
It's a wild ride, and you should definitely watch it with as little spoilers as possible. Because that's another one where I was watching, I was like, she's doing it, and I was like, is she doing it? I was like, is she dead? Is she alive? Like,
Right.
the narration really does leave you guessing, and like you want to Google it so you feel smart before it gets to the end, but just put the horse blinders on and watch it and try
Yeah.
to guess.
There's a lot of those that have started coming out on like Netflix and other ones.
Well, that's because Making a Murderer changed the game.
Yeah,
That's a
That was-
great series.
that one definitely is good. I think someone just knocked on the door. It might be his snacks.
Yo, what's up? Domino's is in the house. Jordan, what's up? How are you? You want to say hi to anybody? No? Aw. No loved ones?
Jordan's in witness protection. Can you chill? Jordan can't legally get on the.
Bye, Jordan. Jordan from Domino's Pizza.
Chris always orders food mid-show.
I do, man, because I get the munchies like a motherfucker,
I
man.
think like
I know,
secretly
and
you
then-
just want to get people in here so that you can talk about.
Yo, what's your order though?
I got a cheese. We got the Kevin McAllister special in there, the extra cheese, and then also the Christopher Kenworthy special, the black olives and sausage.
Right, but is that pan? Is that thin crust?
Pan.
Is that not pan? Yeah.
Yeah,
You
I only
pay the
go
extra
pan.
$2. Yeah,
Yeah, I only do pan.
it's worth it.
Hell yeah, it is, man. You got a ball out of control. It's a good time.
So yeah, Lover, Stalker, Killer. Definitely watch it.
Yeah.
Assume nothing.
Yeah, that was a fantastic one.
The tie-in to her casual boyfriend, again without spoilers, is one where it's like, is this an inside job? What the fuck is this?
Right. Fantastic. Speaking of like things that you can watch, I've got 3 movies, 3 recommendations. Of course, they're going to be kind of like, I wouldn't call them like Valentine horror, but more like revenge or love gone wrong.
Are these
sort of
all
thing.
Saltburn? Just
No.
Saltburn 3 times.
I watched that. And
A lot of dicks in that movie.
yeah.
There was no CGI in that movie.
Hella
Shout out to Barry
dick.
Keoghan.
Yeah. Crazy. It was. Wasn't what I was expecting.
But it's what you needed.
Yeah, it definitely was what I needed.
Everybody needs some twink dick in their life.
Right. So the first one I caught, it's on Paramount, so you can catch it on Paramount right now. It's called Significant Other, and it's about a couple hiking in the Oregon, on the Oregon Trail, and they encounter a sinister force. So I'm not gonna like ruin the movie, but you should definitely watch it. There is like kind of like angsty, like you get the feel like she kind of hates him, but also kind of loves him. So. Check that out. It's a 2022 film by Robert Olson and Dan Burke, and it's on Paramount. I'm not going to ruin the movie because it's fairly new. That's good. I would hope that most of the people in this room at least watched Revenge. I know that George has. That's on Shudder. Fantastic film, 2017 by Coralie Farge. I think that's how yeah. So Jen enjoys a romantic getaway with her wealthy but married boyfriend when his 2 sleazy friends arrive, and tensions abruptly and viciously intensify. So if you like something where there's like a lot of rape, but then like she goes nuts and like booby traps and like hunts them, you're gonna love this film.
Dude, so like
If
this
you're
dude,
into booby traps and
you're not
rape.
doing it justice about how balling this dude is. They show up in a helicopter. You got to take a helicopter to this motherfucker's house.
Yeah, and it's a mansion in the middle of like the desert.
Nowhere.
Yeah, and she's a gorgeous girl, aspiring actress. Like she is just there to enjoy his company, secretly. And then his friends show up, and then things go really, really bad. So if you like one of those like good job, girl, those kind of movies.
Like the second half of Spit on Your Grave, but not the first half.
Yeah. I would definitely like compare it to that. So fantastic film. I loved it. Here's another one for the LGBTQ community. One of my favorites. It's called What Keeps You Alive. That's 2018 by Colin Minahan. It's about a couple who go to a secluded cabin just to enjoy each other's company when one of them decides to off the other. And then from there, it transpires into like a cat and mouse kind of
I call this my lesbian girlfriend's trying to kill me movie.
Yeah, I absolutely loved it. There are some shocking
Sinister scissors.
yeah, there's some shocking scenes in it, and I love both of their characters.
You know what the most
you
shocking?
just want to love them both because they're both like adorable and cute, and but then like you hate one of them.
The most shocking part of that movie is the gullibleness of one of these women.
Yeah, that's true. Like she's like, oh, she loves me, but she loves me. How could she do this? She loves me.
Is this the queer version of Antichrist?
No, there's no ball. There's no vagina getting
there's
smashed.
there's no
Vagina.
squishing of like genitals or anything like that. But it is pretty good, and
Well, I'm skeptical, but I'll give it a go. I guess.
yeah, definitely
Yeah,
check
there's
it
no
out.
William Dafoe penis.
Yeah.
There's
no-
everybody
there's none of
loves a
that.
William Dafoe penis.
That movie raised my standards on that. So it's a bare minimum now.
Last week we talked about wild films, and I didn't spoil it. Have you seen a Serbian film?
Yeah.
All right. She has not.
I still have not.
And it is. I was speaking about how it was on Netflix and YouTube at certain points, and nobody noticed for a long time. And a lot of people probably saw that movie did not need to see that movie. Like
one of the Phantom Hourglass posters I made at one point was an old poster from Serbian film, and it said, "Not all movies have a happy ending." and I just changed it to "Not all shows have a happy ending," and we were the one, and like no one got it. And I was like, It's lost on you fucking peasants.
Yeah, I definitely have to check that one. My
Nerds.
dad watched it, and he told me in great detail, like some of the. And I'm like, Dad, stop ruining it for me. I gotta see it. Obviously, I have a toddler, so I can't really
You
like
can't put that
watch
one on.
movies
Yeah,
that much. Like
that won't shape him at all.
yeah, like I try to like I watch like scary movies when he's taking a nap, and lately that nap,
It's
stage
shorter and shorter.
it's getting shorter and shorter, and soon it won't be anymore, and I'll be very sad.
It really is like the horror version of like a Lars von Trier movie. Like some people just want to make things to punish you.
Mm-hmm.
And
Alright.
and again, like Lars von Trier, if no one's familiar, is like House That Jack Built or
Oh, I
Nymphomaniac.
love that one.
Like,
yeah.
but that guy makes films to make people uncomfortable. Like when they say film should evoke a reaction from you, like there's only one reaction some filmmakers want.
Yeah.
And it's just fucking suffering.
Yeah, that's my
Yeah.
kind of movie.
Yeah, like I had the same feeling, not from like the entire movie, but at the end of Human Centipede 2.
Perfect movie.
Like at the
Perfect
end,
fucking
at the very end, like that last, like when that lady's escaping, I was like, oh my god, dude, this they just went for it right here. They just were like, hey, you will ruin your day.
It's like the black and white made it worse, which is fucking so good, right? And like, there's no filter; it's completely unhinged. And even like, so after the first Human Centipede, which was going to be on my list of Valentine's movies, one of the reviews said that there was no way it could happen; it wasn't medically accurate. So in Human Centipede 2, he has that notebook from watching the movie over and over, and in his notes in it, it says medically accurate ? So the movie's meta as fuck because he's watching the first movie, acknowledging that it's a work of art, it's not real,
Yeah,
but he's emulating it, which makes it real. And then in the third fucking movie is when they have the filmmaker, as the filmmaker, come to the prison. And when you listen to the fucking two wardens of the jail, they ask him 3 or 4 times, and is this medically accurate? And the director, who is the real director of the fucking films, goes, yeah, it's 100% medically accurate. Like, he took every chance to roast his critics in those fucking movies. He's so fucking aware of the art of it.
yeah.
And it's beautiful. Like,
I haven't
fucking love
seen Human Centipede 3. I heard that it is a.
I saw it at the Alamo on a midnight release. Shout out to Faye of Psycho Cinema for providing the top tier
man.
entertainment of the world. Faye is one of the literal loves of my life. I wish her well in everything she does, even doing crime. And she had a midnight release of Human Centipede 3, and then because of the digital fucking system they use, most movies didn't have a midnight release. So the computers shut down, and then they tried to give it a new authentication code. So we didn't watch the movie till 12:30, almost 1 a.m. And she looked at the crowd, and she's like, we can just reschedule this for another day, or we can wait it out. And everyone in the crowd's like, we're here to watch Human Centipede 3. We're waiting it out. And that fucking crowd, we were there till like 2:30, 3 a.m. in the fucking morning to watch that movie. But it's all fan service. It's literally, they make the centipede longer. It's like 100+ people. It's using a prison to do it. And everything about it is just like, it's just ridiculousness. Like, there's no horror, I think, in Human Centipede. It's all art. Like, it's all just fucking, it's so self-aware.
Yeah, I remember watching like Saw was like the first like big movie that was like super gore,
torture porn,
like
yeah.
and then Hostels kind of stepped it up, but then once Human Centipede came out, it was like nah, we're here to make it, like we're honestly here to fuck with you. Like,
Yeah, the first one's genuinely terrifying because you're like, this could be me. I could be a European hitchhiker maybe one day, right? Like more than Hostel, where I would get to the hostel and fuck everybody and then die. I was like, nah, I would be the hitchhiker that gets taped to someone's butt. I wouldn't be the hitchhiker that gets laid.
Man, I love the episode of South Park that they do the Human Centipede parody of. He's like, would you like vanilla pudding or cuttlefish with asparagus? Oh, a cuttlefish with asparagus. Dude, it is the best, dude.
Yeah, dude. Oh man.
But yeah, 3's worth it. Watch it, if only just to say you watched it, type of thing. But like you said, 2 truly was like the most visceral.
Yeah, 2 like all right, like spoiler. Yo, a baby just like newborn, just ooh, just watch it. Ew.
Yeah.
And again,
love that
I don't know if
shit.
it would be as jarring if it wasn't in black and white, but like black and white really sells this gritty feeling. It
You know
really
what
makes
would
you
a
feel
good-
really like disoriented about time and space and
That's-
weather, like just really.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. There's another film called The Eyes of My Mother, and it's a black and white film. And
Oh yeah.
I think if it wasn't in color, it wouldn't be like, it would be like, but because it's in black and white, it just feels like darker.
Although
So basically, that movie is about a woman who she watches her mom get murdered by this crazy person, and then her dad comes home right at that moment, and he doesn't kill the man, but he ends up keeping this man in chains and removes his eyes and keeps him in the barn, and she grows up with this man in the barn as her pet or her friend. So it's a wild movie. If you want to see it, I think it's on Nightmares and Monsters. It's a sub-channel on Prime right now. I just ordered it. Really, really good movie.
Yeah, I know. The beginning of that movie is just like the you don't even see really the mom in the movie get what happens to her. You sort of hear it and you know it's gonna happen, and it's really like it's weird at how calm it is before it happens.
Yeah, the girl, even her as a little girl, she's just like smiling, and like her dad comes home and she's like, "Mommy's in the bathroom with her new friend," like.
Oh yeah.
Like totally unaware of what's going on. So yeah, definitely a good movie.
Movies I do want to see in color is Eraserhead, though.
Oh,
If
yeah.
I'm gonna jerk off onto a heater on Radiator Girl, I don't know why I can't see what color. Right?
That's what's up.
That movie's wild. I used to like put that on before I go to sleep, and then I started thinking like this may not be good for my psyche.
I was gonna say, well, how old were you?
Oh, fucking like 24.
You were her kid's age. Like, it didn't fuck me up. I'm good.
Oh, dude, like that movie's just like even to this day, it's not like I'm not like ooh, it's scary. It's just like it just feels kind of like creepy.
I love everything about David Lynch without wanting to agree or be him at all. You know, like everything with Twin Peaks and his outlook on things, like he's truly a fucking artist. And I'm not saying because like I want to be it. Like I said, I don't believe in transcendentalism. I'm not paying to fake float and shit. I'm not changing the aura of the world by meditating with everybody else and that shit. But and I don't trust Russell Brand at all. But like his movies and films and shit are just he has a reason why he does it. And you get it or you don't. You don't have to accept that it's art or not. There's a lot of negative people out there that'll tear it apart, but like, he knows exactly what the fuck he wants to do.
Oh yeah, like a lot of people didn't like the first Dune, and I think that's more to do with like the narration stuff.
Yeah,
like, you didn't
I
like
couldn't
it
get like
that.
the inner monologue. It's just weird.
Blue Velvet's the hot shit though.
I love that one.
Yeah,
That's definitely my favorite.
Did you see the
Pabst Blue Ribbon?
Heineken, like fucking no. Did you see that Dune popcorn?
Oh yeah, the fleshlight.
Thing? Oh my
I'm gonna
God.
fuck that thing.
Yeah,
you better watch out.
That's the.
I'm going to the Alamo. I'm gonna be first in line. I'm like, yo, let me get that fleshlight. I'm gonna be fucking this popcorn.
Like you think that's a hot take, but that's literally what everyone is saying.
Oh, you bet they better. They better. We better be all in the bathroom like, oh, you fuck your Dune worm? Yeah, I fuck this popcorn. I got a kernel in my dick hole.
Extra butter.
Yeah, the lube. You want to cut your dick up on a kernel?
I bet you they're $100 plus on eBay right now.
Oh yeah, dude.
They're probably sold
fucked
out.
Orton. Pre-fucked.
Oh man, I have a virgin Dune popcorn.
You better not show it to me. I ain't gonna be a virgin no more. You'll be like, George, stop macking on my popcorn. Like, hey girl. Oh man. Sandworms kind of hot this year.
Oh my God, that's good as fuck. Oh shit.
Oh fuck. So Alaska Pox is back. Oh, you didn't know about Alaska Pox?
Where did it
Nobody
go?
did because
Very
it's,
specifically.
it's the new shit you can worry about.
Located
Is
pops.
that a spoiler alert for the new True Detective? Did you just ruin the final?
Yes.
No, so Alaska Pox is it's been a known disease that has crossed over from other mammals since 2015, but the first death happened. The first death in Alaska happened this year with good old Alaska Pox, and that's why it's hitting the
Alaska
airways.
Pox?
So it's called orthopox virus. Basically, it is a type of a virus that ends up causing lesions across your skin. It almost looks like you have a big ass nasty blackhead on your arm. Ta-da.
Ew.
So that's the telltale sign of the Alaska Pox.
That's a botfly.
Yeah.
I've already been scarred by the internet in the early 2000s.
That's a Dune popcorn
Related illness.
Embedded kernel.
That's post me getting with it. But an elderly man died in Alaska of the Alaska Pox. He is it brought newfound attention to this recently rediscovered virus. Apparently, he lived in the remote area of the Kenai Peninsula. He had a suppressed immune system due to cancer treatments and was hospitalized since last November and died in late January. He had skin lesions, and which led them to figure out that he in fact had Alaska virus.
So how did he
Alaska
like?
pox.
How is it transmitted? Is it like airborne or is it?
So it's similarly, it's related to smallpox and mpox and cowpox, but apparently they don't know how he caught it. I'd say he was fucking a bovine. But apparently also there's been an upsurge apparently in different viruses crossing over. Apparently a man in Oregon caught a rare case of the human plague from a cat.
Yeah, that sounds possible because they eat
that's some
rats
bad
and
pussy.
mice.
Yeah. Especially if the rats have toxoplasmosis.
So yeah, that's feasible.
That's
a nasty pussy.
That's a mind fuck. That'd be like if we got like some virus and we just went to the zoo and we're like punching like lions and shit in the face. Because apparently they find it's not like they want to fight these cats. They smell their urine and are sexually excited. So it's like almost the same way you use like what is deer urine to attract when they're in the rut. Same thing, but it happens to them, and they all of a sudden run up and get eaten.
Yep.
You think this is just Dead Alive 2 happening?
It could
Peter
be.
Jackson's second.
Well, they
tutorial
say
to
like
beat
in
horror.
certain areas they can tell by the impulsiveness of male culture if there's a higher level of toxoplasmosis virus infecting. Like they said in Brazil, they had this study, and they studied people's brains that have been in motorcycle accidents on crotch rockets, and they said there was a disproportionate amount of those men that had toxoplasmosis in their blood, like up to 90%. So it just makes you as a male more impulsive.
Yeah, it can also cause schizophrenia. I
Oh,
know
yeah.
that. Like, so
That's some wild
Yeah.
shit.
so if you have a cat, don't let him outside.
Yeah.
Well, the Alaska one's concerning because everyone wants to thaw permafrost until thawing permafrost shit happens.
Oh, dude.
Yeah,
And
like
I
the
feel
thing.
like, yeah. There's only so much time until we hit one of those fucking sublayers that we shouldn't hit.
Yeah.
But apparently it starts with one or more skin lesions, a rash, swollen lymph nodes, and joint and muscle pain. Apparently most people, when they caught it, they suspect they had a spider or insect bite because of the lesion. That is the first sign. But yes, apparently
Squeeze a lime on it.
something you have to watch out. I guess it's more concerning to health officials because of the fact that he lived in a very remote area, so they don't know if that's, it could be, permafrost melting and he just drank some water. It could be some wild shit. But the first known case was in 2015, I guess, first person that ever caught it.
It's just another reason for me to never go to Alaska.
Well, you gotta believe that God hates you if you're the second person ever to get something. Those odds are just there's really
Second
no
person to
denying it.
catch it, first person to die.
Well, it's also like, is that on WebMD now? Like, do we all think we have it? Like, you were reading the symptoms. I was like, fuck, I might have that. These lymph nodes are a little sore.
Dude, that fucking would suck. Imagine like that you go to like the doctor and you're like, I don't feel so good, and all of a sudden they're like, yo, you the second person that done got this. That's almost worse than being the first one. The first one you'd be like, I'm a pioneer.
Yeah,
I caused it. The second one you'd be like, for real? No, fuck.
Right, like one, they didn't name it after the first guy, which kind of sucks. Like Lou Gehrig gets all the good diseases, and then
the
two,
good ones.
you got to think like you said. You go to the doctor and they say you have it, and they're like, but don't worry, the last guy lived. It's 100% living rate, and you're gonna fuck the whole numbers up. It's down to 50 now.
Yeah, like the day before you die, they come in like, oh, you fucked everything up. We had a course of medicine. We had fucking.
Did not see that coming. Yeah.
You want some morphine?
Also,
Make
I
you
love
comfortable.
that the guy got human plague, and they had to specify as human plague, and he's like, "Is this one of the small?" They're like, "No, this is the human one. This
You got
is
the plague,
one."
bro. Dude, you start getting boobons, and all of a sudden you're like, ah! Dude, that.
It's only a matter of time before you get that silly goose fever.
How many, like, when that went up the pike to, like, the authorities, and they were like, somebody's got the plague, how far do you think it went up before they were like, kill him? Because that's what I'm thinking with the governmental apparatus. They're like, all right, we can't get that one out. Can you burn him alive?
Yeah,
Can you?
like,
You
They
remember?
rerun the test post-human. They're like, actually, he didn't have it. We were wrong. They're like, well, fuck.
You remember Ebola?
Ooh,
Do
yeah.
I remember?
I lived in Reston when Ebola was popping.
It's so
Like,
treatable now, though. You
yeah,
know,
man,
like it sounds
they
scary.
burned
but
down
it-
the building and shit.
Yeah, but if you get it, like it's treatable now. Like you just have to
Yeah,
catch
it's
it on
not a
time.
thing.
See
now.
how wild that shit is medicine is, because back when we were like, they were making movies about it. Like, if
Yeah,
you, like you
outbreak.
die in 3 days, you bleed out of your eyes and ass. It was
Yeah.
like crazy shit like that was Ebola.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
great novel as well. Outbreak.
Oh yeah, you know what you should never do. And I did this.
Yeah, we did it. We did it.
We watched 3 movies in a row you should not watch during COVID. And the first one was fucking Outbreak, and the second one was like Contagion
Yeah.
or something. Oh my god, dude.
That
And
was a
then
good
like
one.
not even 2 months later, or maybe even a month, I got COVID real bad. I looked like I was gonna die. And I went to the hospital, and they put me in a room that had a sliding door and a separate AC. And then they
you're
started,
big fucked.
and then they started coming in my outbreak suits. I was like, no, like, no, this is. And the best part was like I was all fucked up on morphine because they were just shooting me up because my fever was so high, and
Yo.
they didn't have a test for COVID at that point or whatever. And all of a sudden, this lady, her suit starts deflating a little bit, and I could see it in her eyes through this little hole. She starts steaming up a little bit, and she's like, my suit.
Look, see, this is why I'm going to hell, because if I was you, I'd been like, gotcha, bitch.
You're coming with me. Like that shit was so fucking funny.
Oh my god.
Did you look like E.T.? You were all like wet and gray, laying on the bed with a towel.
I was-
over
Really
your
yeah,
head.
I
was.
was- yeah, I was-
He was super. Like he lived. He
He
lived. Like,
looks-
he lived in my house at the time, and like he text messaged. He was like, "I need water. Can you bring water?" And I'm like, I haven't seen him in a while. Like,
He looked like George Burns.
so I went down and brought him water. Like I totally unaware because this was like really early and
Yeah.
you know, like kind of naive. And I was bringing him food and water, and I was like, "Are you okay? Like, should we take your temperature?" I never got it though.
Yeah.
I never got it, and I was like really close, like in your little dank hot ass room, because he was like he was cold.
Yeah. I was
Like he was
fucking-
like literally like freezing to death, except his room was like 1,000,000 degrees, and I'm like, "Are you okay? Like maybe you should go to the doctor. Like it's a little warm in here." But he was white as shit,
Oh,
like
dude.
white as a ghost,
That shit sucked.
and sweating.
He was
Just
like,
sweating.
you were like Wham white.
Oh,
You were
dude,
like
yeah, I
Hall
was-
and
I was-
Oates white.
Yeah, like his lips were like. I was like, "This is not good."
and Pedialytes.
Yeah.
But then another thing happened that was wonderful. They fucking gave me so much morphine. I had a drip and I had one of those little buttons. And I just hit that shit, and then Wizard of Oz scene hit where they were going through the opium fields, and I was like,
The poppies.
And then I went- and then I time traveled, and they were like, "Oh, we're gonna send you home." So I get out of there and I go home, and I call my primary care doctor, and like he gets my file, and he's like, "They sent you home?" And I was like, "Oh no." Yeah,
Yeah, that was a whole scary ordeal. Like,
yeah. I wrote a will.
yeah, you thought you had like at one
They thought I
point,
had
'cause they-
leukemia.
Yeah, they didn't know what it was. They were like, "It's leukemia," and
I was
then
an
that's
outbreak
when
monkey.
everybody was like, "No, this is a new thing called COVID."
I should have known, man. I had this dude that I work with that came back from El Salvador, and he was coughing. Next thing I know, I'm like,
I'm dying.
dude.
I ate this bat wing, and the next thing I know,
Yeah, I was
fucking
sucking
jammed up.
dick in the break room. Next thing you know, I got AIDS.
Hey, sorry.
AIDS is livable now. Don't they have some like
Yeah, they
some
have,
pill
like,
you can take so you don't even get it, like a prophylactic? Just
Yeah,
for AIDS?
it's prep.
What? It's a prep. So
The-
what is that, like a pill? A salve?
It's a pill.
Just rub it on your Johnson. and
Yeah,
you're
you just
good
rub
to
it on
go.
your dick right before you go in, before you do war.
Well, that's good. That's good, man.
Booty hole brown.
Yeah.
No, it's actually like something that a lot of people, especially like people that have multiple partners, they just go ahead and take it.
Oh yeah, so,
Go
you,
on.
Right. I mean, it's better to like get
Sci-
tested and use protection anyway, but
so it's back to the
They
good
should get
old
Nelly.
days.
They should use Nelly's "Drop Down and Get Your Eagle On" as their theme song. Like drop down and get your eagle on. Just everybody's popping prep and going to the club.
Wonder if it's like
Sorry.
it was back in
Sorry, I
like,
didn't
you
mean
know,
to
the
make light of that,
pre-AIDS
but-
days now in the gay community.
say again. I'm sorry.
Like I wonder if it's back to the days of the 70s, like like pre, like because like
I wouldn't say that because there's still like
Well, there's other shit you can catch. You still
Well,
gonna have
it's
to
like-
wrap your rascal.
You
Yeah.
still need accessibility and cost and education. You know
Yeah.
what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah,
For
yeah.
all that. So it's also weird though that it feels very understated. Like you said, like AIDS was
Yeah, it was
even
scary.
in the 90s
Like,
as a kid. It's like, okay, this is
like,
a very serious disease, and now it's not been trivialized. But like you said, there's been so many advancements that are amazing, and that's like HPV. Like I was 24-ish, and someone's like, girls can get this thing called HPV, but guys practically don't get it. And I was like, I don't give a shit. And then I met people who got HPV and had complications from it, and now they give you a vaccine for it. Like
Yeah, yeah.
literally, my 7-year-old daughter won't know what HPV is.
yeah,
but,
my
like,
daughter has it.
There's this,
Like the vaccine. I remember
Mhm.
when she turned like 13. She like was all like, I got all these new vaccines,
Yeah.
Daddy.
I
came in
actually,
with 5G. I'm fucking wild.
I actually,
all of a sudden my cell phone.
I had gotten it, and it's not something that you can, like, because they didn't know about it, during my young age. But if you clear it out of your body and it's clear for 2 to 3 years, you can get the vaccine, which is what I did.
Yeah.
So once it was cleared, I got that shit, and I'm like, yeah, that's not gonna ever happen again.
Yeah,
Got
but
that
like,
5K.
Yeah.
no, in my 20s, because they were like, men can carry it. And I was like,
Yeah.
how do I? It's the WebMD.
It's like
thing.
a
I was
ninja.
There's no way
I
to
started
test
like
it for
scratch
men.
on my neck. I'm like, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't fucking Michael Douglas getting it from like eating pussy and he
Yeah.
didn't know the girl had
Throat-
HIV.
she
He
had-
got like
'cause you
throat
can-
cancer.
There's one, I think.
Chris is shocked by Michael Douglas got throat
Michael
cancer.
Douglas got throat cancer from eating some vagina.
Yeah.
What? You could get throat cancer from
From
cunnilingus?
You
Yeah,
didn't know
for-
that?
Chris,
Oh my god, you're so naive. You poor summer
What?
child.
Man.
you can't get it from eating ass. You're fine.
Oh,
But two,
good.
repeat after me. I'll die doing what I love.
Right.
Oh my god.
Worth it.
Super
Yeah.
HPV in the mouth.
So
It's like that Team America type of thing. Like,
Yeah.
promise me you'll never die. Like I thought about that. I'm like, if the doctor came to me and was like, "You're gonna die," what? If you don't stop eating pussy, you're gonna die. I'm gonna go home and say, "I'm gonna fucking die."
War.
Maybe I'll live forever.
Auga.
Chugga chugga.
yeah, and if any of you ladies are up in the age like I am, they actually made that vaccine so that you can get it up to 45 now. So definitely talk to your doctor.
I'm
about
gonna get
it.
3 of them.
Drop down and get your eagle on.
Drop down and get your eagle on.
Sure.
You know, like
It better be good. You just make yourself laugh.
so like, he talking about drop down and get your eagle on. What if there was a contest? They had like wild ass contests at the club. What if there was a contest where girls had to pick up something off the ground with their butt cheeks?
That's not
Much
that
like
wild.
much like a claw game.
What if they'd have to be suspended from some sort of like?
No. You
training
got
mechanism?
no. You got to squat down. You got to get low.
They have to have really good knees for that.
Yeah. That's why it's a contest. These are gonna
I
be
think it'd be-
athletes.
I think it'd be more fun to make some sort of like crane. They actually are on some sort of crane.
So they're like
large-
hung down like this.
No, they're hung down like sort of like hog tied, I guess, so that their butt cheeks are the actual clawing
You
mechanism.
see what I have to deal with here?
I'm equally surprised.
Oh, dudes can do it too. It just might be a detriment. They're gonna have to tape
Yeah.
themselves up, or else they're gonna bounce off the ground balls first.
You know what I was saying today, and real quick before I cut off because I just cut Josh off, but it was I thought about the funniest thing I ever heard at the Monument, and it was during the drag show, and I told these people today, and one of the queens came out and she goes, "All you straight men in the audience, if you think you feel uncomfortable, honey, I got my dickhead taped to my asshole," and I was like,
That's awesome.
Were you there for that?
champion.
Was that after? Pride?
Was that? Weren't you and
the
I
post
standing
show?
together when
was the
that
pro- I'm
happened?
pretty sure
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
post
yeah, yeah, yeah. And dude, I was fucking dying, man. It was like one of the funniest things. So, Josh, go ahead and roast me. I know it's coming.
No, I was just saying. In my mind, there's a bell curve of your life, and you're either in jail or a millionaire. Is like the left and right of it. And when you say shit like hog tie him and make him clap a champagne bottle and lift it, like it's only one of those two. It's jail or $1 million. I just never know which way the needle's going.
It's you know what, man. It's I've lived a very parallel life sometimes. So sometimes I find myself clapping cheeks in the club, and sometimes I find myself, getting my cheeks clapped in the pen. No, I'm just kidding.
Dude.
Well, remember, if you're like your friend Martin Shkreli, you can do both. You can own a Wu-Tang
Man,
album and then
fuck
still
that
go to
dude,
fucking
man.
jail.
Fuck that guy. Fuck that guy. That's all I gotta say about that dude.
It's not liable because it's true.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah, the only thing I think about that is it's sad another Wu-Tang album didn't get released. Also, don't yell Wu-Tang at drag shows because it almost got Tim's ass beat.
Oh, I remember that. I was there for that.
Yeah.
Why? Is there
'Cause
anti-sentiment? Is
Tim
there
was-
anti-Wu-Tang
Tim was
sentiment?
pissed
It feels
fucking
like a
drunk.
secret menu type of thing. Like no one knew they could unlock that. Woke something up.
No, like Tim was like excited and was like, instead of saying like hell yeah or whatever, the drag show, he's like Wu-Tang. And there was a lesbian couple in front of us and they got real mad at Tim, and Tim was really drunk, so it made him happy because they were angry. So he kept saying
Yeah,
it more
he
and
just
more.
kept
Jesus,
like
dude. I mean,
antagonizing them.
Well, who knew? That's like
Yeah,
finding,
who knew
It's like,
Wu-Tang would piss anybody
it's
off?
like finding out that if you put sodium in water, it fucking causes a massive explosion. If you
Mentos
yell
and
Wu-Tang at a lesbian, you will get instantly.
Oh yeah, I was
beat
like,
up.
legitimately, Tim would have got beat up by this woman. Like
Like-
I was almost like, we got to get you out of
Yeah.
here.
It also
After
feels
like the
a
fifth time, you were like, "Let's go." I'm just sitting there like,
fifth time. Okay, yeah, he deserved it. Yeah. You said
No,
the 36th
I'm not saying
time
she was
the
wrong.
line.
But
After 32, we knew he fucked up. But it also feels like a perfect time for them to reference Gravel Pit, right? Like that song was made for them.
dude, that shit. Oh, but yeah, it like
Check out my gravel pit.
if you've never been to a drag show as a straight man, you should, because they are fucking hilarious. I definitely went and I was like, oh, people tossing up dollars? What the fuck? I didn't expect this to go down.
Yeah, it's the subscription rate. So they're like, if you want to be down with the squad, you gotta throw your dollar bills, honey. You know, isn't Wu-Tang? I was thinking about it. I just saw a thing. I think Wu-Tang is doing a residency in Vegas. Is
Yep.
that a thing?
Yeah, I don't know if all of them are going to be there though.
They're gonna
Yeah, of
dig
course
up a
not.
few
Old
of
Dirty.
those
That's
humans.
Wu-Tang.
Dude, you know what? One of the best concerts I ever went to was ODB at the 930 Club,
Ooh.
and it was awesome. He came out at one point during the show. He went backstage and comes out in just his boxers and a belt on, and then he did a handstand over. He poured himself a shot of gin and did a handstand over it, and then got it, and then flipped up and took the shot as he went up. It was fucking insane. Yeah, dude, he threw so much Heineken into the crowd too. Like there were so many underage kids that were siced because he would drink like 3 sips and then just throw the beer into the crowd. And, like they'd be like, "Yo, shit."
You know, when they say vaudeville's dead.
No, dude. I mean,
So, what are we doing after the show?
dude. Unfortunately, due to shitty weatherman's forecast, Shannon took a preemptive measure and she closed for the safety of the staff, which is awesome. But it does suck because we don't have a place to go to after the show. I would like to say that that if this had been the weatherman was like, "Yo, it's gonna be 4 to 8 inches at 9 p.m." And then
Nice.
when a weather woman would have been like,
It's going to be 4 to
I
8
literally
inches.
said
Yeah.
1 to 3 inches.
Well,
It's
that's what I'm saying.
1 to 3 inches, and
that's what I'm saying, man. It's in.
ain't shit happening right
shit-
now. It's
that's what I'm
like
saying.
totally okay outside.
And like they never qualified. They'll be like, it's 4 inches
Yeah.
over the next 4 days. I'm like, go fuck you. That's an inch a day.
right. Well, they said, they were like, weatherman says it's gonna be 9 p.m. It's gonna be 4 to 8 inches. We know the arrival time and the accuracy is gonna be off. A weatherwoman will hit it on the head. She'll be like, "Yo, it's gonna be late and probably like 1 to 3 inches."
Yep. I said it. I called it. Like, Adam was like, "Oh, it's gonna be 8 inches."
We're going to get a foot.
My joke.
And I was like, "Should I pack a bag?" He's like, "Maybe you should pack a bag." I'm like, "All right, I'll pack a bag." But here we are. I was right. You're wrong, Adam. I was right.
Well, it's a bummer because we love hanging out at the Catamount Lounge.
That
because
Mount Lounge.
They got great food, great drinks, awesome atmosphere, beautiful staff members, beautiful customers, great music, great vibe. There's also nice books in the back in case you need to get your read on in the middle of getting your drink on. And then also, it smells good in there, and I think that the bathroom is pretty swell. And
Yo,
a
the
bunch of
tiles look really grouted well.
they actually, shout out to Yanni on the tile work. But but to be real, just plug a couple things there. So March 1st, Helltown Radio is going to be in the house with the Catamount Lounge. Sneaky Snake's going to be there. We're going to try to get some out. We're going to try to get some other local artists to come on in and share their wares with us. Also, open mic nights every Monday night. Sign ups 6:30. Show starts at 7, goes until 10 or above. And then we will starting the first Thursday of March. We're going to be doing a honky tonk night starring the Sneaky Snakes. We encourage everybody to put on their best duds and come out to boot, scoot, holler, and hoot down at the Catamount Lounge on Main Street. But and then on top of that, just everybody be cool, be excellent to each other. And Josh, man, you got anything for us on the closeout?
Catamount Lounge is having a Roadhouse new version screening party.
Yeah, it's gonna be everybody's got. Dude, you know what though?
We have to dress like Jake Gyllenhaal.
Well, no, you know what I loved about
He looks fucking ripped in that, by the way.
Dude, totally hot. Not as ripped as Jamichael though. Let's shout out to Jamichael. But we were talking about Roadhouse? You know how much when I was a kid, I always wanted to go to a bar that had chicken wire in it. I just wanted to go to the bar where you could throw a bottle at the fucking act while they're going on. Like, there's a blind guy trying to do his best to play guitar. You're like, fuck this guy, man. I'm throwing my Michelob at him.
It was just a different time back then. You could throw things at handicapped people. It was just Chris called it the heyday. I don't know.
Hey, listen, man. That was the apex point of white privilege, when you could like not only take advantage of minorities but also people with special needs.
Yeah.
Apex point.
If you've won enough championships.
Depending on championships,
you win
also,
5.
Also, the amount of Rotten Tomatoes you get also counts as well.
Dun-dun-dun.
Dun-dun-dun.
So, where can people find the Museum of the Shenandoah Valley?
I don't even know if I'm supposed to officially endorse that.
Oh, no, yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. It's Winchester, Virginia, Amherst Street. If you see the hospital, you went too far. Again, huge community space, doing things like Pride and Juneteenth, and we host traveling art exhibitions from all over the world. But past that, just go support art in general. Whether it's a shitty show of my shitty band or a shitty band you know or don't know. I think that was the more that you and I talked about, is the more that people go out, the more that people see bands, the more that people start bands, rad shit will happen. Yeah. And that happens in every art, right? Like, go buy your friend's shitty art, tell them it's good, give them $20, don't buy it at Target, fuck off, like, support artists.
Yo, that's what's up. I would also like to shout out my man, Sam. You spell it with a dollar bill. The dude's an amazing guy who has the plug on amazing croissant work and baguettes.
Well, tell Sam,
and also kisses to Bunny.
Yeah, Sam, come over here and bring me some chocolate croissants. Lita,
yeah.
Speaking of art.
Yes.
Sam, hook up the squad.
Please come and follow me on my Instagram. It's a brand new page. I only have 9 followers, and it's making me really sad.
Oh, but yeah, oh my God. Your stuff we got to talk about your art like a lot more depth next week.
Yeah, most definitely. I actually have a few pieces that I'm going to put on there. But if you want to follow my art page, it is that is odd, all underscore. And just check out some of my pieces. I do sculptures, I do paintings, I do weird shit. Or you can follow my regular page, Alola on Loan. And I share memes and pictures of my life. And sometimes I'm funny and sometimes I'm sad.
Yeah, look, your snail is here.
Yeah.
But you're always awesome.
That's Frank the Pensive Snail.
I cold shouldered George because I thought he was handing me shrooms. I'm like, nah, I'm and he sits him down and was like, oh no, that's a snail.
Yeah. Lots of stuff like that. That's awesome.
Yeah. I like to do a lot of artwork with like dead things, bones, sometimes skin, sometimes shells, sometimes other various things. So yeah. That's what I do. So please look at my Instagram. Take a gander at my art.
Go over to Helltown Radio, Dirtbag Radio, all that stuff. Everything disseminates from YouTube. Oh yeah, my daughter made state finals in wrestling again.
Hell yeah.
She's a bad motherfucker. So she's gonna fucking next Friday state championship. So I'll probably come here all fucking jazzed up and fucking tired. Be like, yeah, she's strangling bitches. So yeah, do that shit, champion. I don't want to pay for college. Get a scholarship, Iowa.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, United Negro College Fund College, boy.
Why are you whispering about it? It's Black History Month.
Because if I'm calm, they gonna be like, oh yeah, he's trying to be a secret message. Underground Railroad. All right. Yeah. Go over to Helltown Radio. Look it up on YouTube. That's all you got to type in. It pops right up. Live every Friday, 9 o'clock. Matt will be here next week. He swears to God.
We miss you, Matt. Love you, baby.
I miss you so much, Matt. You don't even know, Matt. Like last week, I had a fever dream about you. And I was shirtless. You weren't.
Ooh.
It's a nightmare.
Good times, easy credit grip.